Then we'll just wait to see if it works on your end. Hello, everyone. Good evening. Thanks for joining us so bright and early. Already see some people in the chat. Very nice. Just wanted to make sure that everything is working technically, and then we'll kick things off.
I think it is. I can see myself in the stream, so.
All right, perfect. Then let's get this started. Hello, everyone. Welcome to the first ever Lowlands Wargaming Livestream. So this is also an opportunity for us to iron out the kinks a little bit if things aren't working properly. If the audio levels are wrong or anything else isn't working, please let us know in the chat. We can read you guys and also comment on anything that we're sharing or give your input. We'll definitely try to make an interactive show out of things.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah, so without further ado, my name's Kevin. Most of you should already know me, and also most of the Dutch community should know our guest today, Menno. Menno, who is the host and the organizer of the Skirmish at the Sweet Lake, which is a tournament coming this week with a very interesting points level, 320 points. But I won't steal the show from you, Menno. Please tell us more about your tournament.
Yeah, thank you. Thanks a lot, man. Thanks for joining me as well on this crazy idea that I had. I've been wanting to do live streams and some list reviews for a longer time, and I thought that my own tournament, which might sound a bit selfish, but was a perfect opportunity to do this, especially because of the points level. It's not too serious of a tournament. It's 320 points. I came up with the idea after I organized a doubles tournament where everybody played 350 points. I came up with the idea. I just checked, and I think that tournament was actually like half a year ago. It took some time between personal stuff happened. But it's coming this weekend, and we're going for it again. And I wanted to sit a little bit below that level, 350 points, just to give people the chance to take new ideas with them, take some new list, not just copy their old list. So that's why we're playing at 320 points. Never played it before. We have around 30 players, 32 at the moment. There'll probably be someone sick on the day itself, so I'm just counting on 30 players. Terrain will be delivered by Larry, as always, who does a great job at filling our tables for us. And we're going to play 4 rounds, 90 minutes each. And like I already said, it's going to be on May the 4th. It has nothing to do with Star Wars, but it's still May the 4th in Zoetermeer at Spel and Meer. And just for the people curious, the Sweet Lake part of the name is also like small reference to Zoetermeer, which is my hometown. It roughly translates to Sweeter Lake. So this is my brand name, although it's not a brand, but people recognize the name, which I think is nice.
Yeah.
And it will be my third tournament so far, so I'm always very excited. Also a bit scared to just you mess up the scores, or you want to give people a good time, and that's my responsibility in this.
Yeah, no, speaking from personal experience, your previous 2 tournaments were really enjoyable, and you did a really good job. So I don't think you have anything to be afraid of hosting this particular one.
Thanks.
Yeah, so 320 points is quite of an oddball. Is there any particular reason why you settled on exactly this number of points?
Not really. Like I already said, I wanted to go a little bit below 350, and I think I wanted to take a bit of a step, because 30 points, if I just go 10 points under, people just remove one of their models from their old list and take that list anyway. So I want to go a bit below. It's also just a bit of a random number. I like odd numbers. So yeah, no real reason to be fair.
Yeah, okay, perfect. Well, like I mentioned earlier, we're just going to take a look at the lists today. You also have some special, prizes and awards you wanted to mention, but is that something you'd like to go over at the end or at the start of the stream?
Both, actually. Both, yeah. I always give myself a bit of a challenge for each tournament to come up with original prizes. I don't like, no offense to other people and other organizers, but I like it when there are more prizes, smaller prizes for weird categories, like best conversions, or at the last tournament I actually had a prize for the double team that argued the most, who had the most arguments with each other. And for the people who read my rules back very carefully, it wasn't complete, but yeah, there's also going to be a prize, and there are actually going to be 3 prizes for the list with the most might, the most will, and the most fate. So for our perfect audience, who's of course going to check every little stat in the book that there is, please pay attention for the list with the most might, the most will, and the most fate. There are 3 different prizes, so you can predict who is going to win those prizes. They'll get some store credit next Saturday. I think that's it. Okay. So without further ado, let's go into the first list. They're on alphabetical order, so I'm sorry for Yorick. I think you're going to be the last one, but please keep watching if you're watching this. Let's start out with the first list, and this should work. If I click this, there should be an army list on the screen. I can't check it in the chat right now because it has a bit of a delay, but
Yes.
I'm sure it's right there.
It says Andy's list, which is an Isengard list.
Yeah, indeed, it's Isengard list. I will read it out loud for the audio listeners. It's going to be led by Lurtz, without a shield, which sometimes surprises me because it's free. He has 4 Uruk-hai warriors with shield, 5 Uruk-hai warriors with a pike, 3 Uruk-hai scouts with an Uruk-hai bow, and then the second is Sharku on a shield with a warg, on a warg with a shield, with 4 warg riders with throwing spears. 320 points on the dot. Well-rounded army, 18 models, 4 bows. What do you think?
I think it's only Legolas that actually can mount a shield, if we're being completely strict about it in Helm's Deep. But about the army, this is interesting, right? Because normally I'm very kind of meh on Lurtz, because he's usually outclassed by bigger heroes very easily at any significant points level. But at 320, it feels like people can either outclass Lurtz and have like a big hero that can absolutely bully him, or have numbers, but not really both. So either way, this list will have a good chance at like either matching them in numbers and just defeating the army, or Lurtz can just stand his own and take on enemy heroes relatively comfortable.
Yeah, I agree. Also, his shooting might actually be something that's going to do some work. Because if your opponent only has like 18 models himself, if you can just shoot one guy each turn,
yeah, with Lurtz, the problem though is like that's sacrificing maneuverability with your big hitting hero. So yeah, personally I think I would have taken like maybe 2 less warg riders and maybe try an extra model in there, because it's only 18 models. I know we're at 320 points, but it makes me feel very uncomfortable. That's just kind of what I'm thinking. And also Sharku is very potent, but maybe Mahur or Vrasku is nicer. But
I love Sharku.
I mean, if you're not going to play Sharku at 320, when are you going to play him, right? Because that's also kind of the spirit of this event, is to take something you normally wouldn't. So yeah, I like it. It's I think it's quite well rounded. It has a little bit of everything. It should be able to be able to do all of the scenarios quite comfortably. So yeah.
Do you like the pick of the Uruk-hai bows over crossbows?
Yes. I'm not a big fan of crossbows if you need to move and shoot, and you don't really have the numbers to spare to have like 3 models sitting in the back doing nothing once the lines clash, and 3 crossbows isn't enough to be really threatening to like shoot into combat or something along those lines. Like you kind of need a critical mass, something that Corsairs can usually pull off at higher points levels. So I prefer the bows.
Yeah, same here. Just curious. I think this is going to be Andy's first tournament as well. I never met him before. He sounds very friendly in his emails, so looking forward to it. So good luck, Andy, on your first ever tournament.
Yeah, and it's a good list to start with, I think.
Yeah, I think so. Yeah, not too complicated. Okay, let's move on to number 2, because we have 33 lists to go today. So let's keep going. Going to switch to the white version of tabletop, and it's Cornet with his list. Do you want to do the honors? Read it out.
Yeah, so this is an interesting one. First thing I noticed when I looked at this is it's 10 points short. We've got Isildur with a horse, a shield, and the one ring, obviously. We've got 9 warriors of Numenor with shield and spear, 1 warrior of Numenor with shield, spear, and a banner, and then 5 warriors of Numenor with bows and also spears. So spears on everyone because he had the points left. The warband's completely full. All 15 models are in there, and still there's 10 points left. Which I guess I understand, right? Because what else are you going to do? It's not like Numenor has cavalry that you can spend it on. So
I hadn't even noticed that he's down 10 points. That's that's flexing, man. If he wins, he's going to be like, I don't need 320. Yeah. I got 310, I'm fine.
I actually briefly considered bringing a Moria dragon with fly and nothing else, and then you'd be down 20 points.
Oh, yeah.
Or like 1 goblin to prevent from being broken by killing goblins. And then you're down 15 points. Anyways, jokes aside.
Do you know how expensive are those Warriors of Numenor? The base profile?
The base profile? There's 7 points. So 8 with a shield, 9 with both.
Oh, his warband is full, of course.
Yeah, his warband's full, yeah. That's
these are these weird... these are those weird things you never encountered them in like normal lists, but that's 320 points. You have to make some tough choices.
Yeah. So there's actually some good remarks in the chat. Yes, you could actually add shields to the bows. It doesn't add the defense value for them, but then they would at least be able to shield in combat. And Tim also has a good point. You could just swap access to them if you prefer having the access over swords with the remaining 10 points. I'm assuming that's more of a what you see is what you get issue in this case. If you don't have the models converted already, it might not be worth it personally to convert them for a 320 point event. No offense, Menno. But let's discuss the list itself. I mean, obviously, Isildur, there's no counter to Isildur other than a Witch King or a Ring Wraith. Nothing else in a 320 point event is really going to be able to take him on if he's got the ring on. So
true.
That out of the way, you do have 15 warriors with you, which is pretty decent numbers, but they're kind of fragile. At fight 4 and defense 5, most things will kill them on the 5s.
But I think that the fight 4 is decent enough. There's a lot of fight 4 in this tournament. Not many people bringing elves at this point level.
Yeah, absolutely. So you're definitely relying on Isildur to do a lot of work. But if he gets kind of like sidelined and you meet something that can beat your force, then you could be in trouble. Also, you have a very low amount of might, especially if you need to put on the ring to
that's tough.
combat something.
No moves anymore.
Then you have no way to influence your force and position, which could be a problem during objective-based games. But other than that, I really like the list. It's got 5 decent bows. It's got a hero that's really, really hard to stop. And
that'll
decent
be one
numbers.
of the toughest heroes on the field, probably.
Yep. Absolutely.
Nice. Of course, you know Cornet. I've seen him many times. And Cornet, don't oversleep, man. Put your alarm on the right time.
Be on time. Otherwise, Menno is going to be very upset.
I'll come and pick you up myself with my bike. Nice. Let's go on. Next list is going to be Dan with the Riders of Eomer without Gandalf. This thing blows my mind. I will read it out. It's Riders of Eomer, of course, led by Eomer, the Marshal of the Riddermark. He's on horse, he has a shield, throwing spears. He's bringing 4 Riders of Rohan with throwing spears. And then we have Erkenbrand, who I absolutely adore. Amazing model. Captain of Rohan on horse with 3 riders, throwing spears, and the Westfold red shield upgrade. So, 9 models, all cav. The only thing that really annoys me is there's no reason to play Riders of Eomer. It just doesn't add anything. It basically gives you just a worse army bonus.
Exactly.
You need to be within 12 inch of Eomer. And let me be straight, I love this army. I've played quite a lot of Riders of Eomer. I really adore playing this army, but without Gandalf, there's not really a point.
There's no point.
Dan, please enlighten me. Please, Dan, be in the chat and enlighten me why going for Riders of Eomer. He might have thought that it doesn't matter anyway and he wants to be original, which is also just a good point.
Maybe it's just for the flex, right? Bringing something over. No, but for people who don't know, the Rider, because we don't see this very often, the Riders of Eomer has 2 Legendary Legion bonuses. One is everything that's on a horse within 12 inches of Eomer gets +1 strength on the charge. But that's the same as the regular army bonus, except it's limited to within 12 inches of Eomer. And the other bonus is tied to bringing Gandalf, and it only works if Gandalf's on the field, and then once during the game you can have this massive effect. But yeah, Gandalf's not here, so the only bonus you're getting is a +1 strength, and the normal army bonus is literally better. So yeah, there's no reason for the Legendary Legion here, so it's a bit of an odd choice.
I like the flex, it's just a flex list. But on the other hand, I really like this list, and I honestly think it might be a good competitor. Of course, Rohan is strong on itself, but we're playing 90 minutes rounds. They're going to be fast-paced game, all of them. This army hits pretty hard. Of course, it doesn't have a banner, which might mean that your heroes will fluff a bit, but you do have 6 might. High courage, Erkenbrand. I do honestly like this list.
The red shield bonus, Tim, is they count as within range of a banner if they're within, I think, 6 inches of Erkenbrand. So it has 3 inches. So it has kind of like a pseudo banner. Like some of the riders will be able to get a banner reroll if they're near Erkenbrand. So my take on this list is don't underestimate the fact that all of these riders have bows and throwing spears. So you'll be able to kite a lot and kind of dictate the positioning if you have the time for it. And we have, I think, what was it? 75 minutes per round?
90 minutes.
90 minutes, an hour and a half.
Yeah, it should be enough.
Yeah, so that's enough time, especially with this low model count, to milk a few extra turns that you normally wouldn't have, and guide around. So don't underestimate that aspect of this list.
Yeah. For the people curious, I haven't mentioned it before, but scenario choosing will be done with a D20. I like to do things different as normal. I'm done with all the pool systems. No need for pools. Just roll a D20. If I roll a 90 or 20, I'm just going to re-roll. I actually came up with a crazy idea to like give the special rule that if you roll a 19, then the lowest ranked player could choose the scenario which you wanted. But some of my friends slapped that idea out of me. They didn't agree with it. It wasn't competitive enough.
Fair enough. I'm actually going to have to change the battery in my headset real quick. It's dying, and I have a second one lying around. So 1 second.
Oh, sure. Take your time. So yeah, I came up with this idea, and I do think it's a lot of fun to play this at one tournament, but of course it's really unbalanced, because especially my idea was as well to, on a natural 20, to give the choice to the first ranked player, which would be heavily unbalanced. Hey, welcome back. So yeah, maybe in the next tournament. I think that's all for Dan's list. I do enjoy, like the first, I thought, I actually had it noted down with just Rohan, and then later I checked, I was like, oh, it's Riders of Eomer. So I was like, I'm impressed, Dan. Thank you for bringing this list.
Yeah.
Let's go on to the next list. We're going to Darren. Also first tournament for him. And it's going to be Lurtz Scouts. Kevin, can you read that?
I'm seeing a theme here of first time players bringing Lurtz. So yeah, this is Lurtz Scout, not a regular Isengard. We have Lurtz with a shield, 6 scouts with a Marauder upgrade and a shield, 4 scouts with a Marauder upgrade and a Uruk-hai bow, Mauer, which lets you get the Marauder upgrades for free, with 5 scouts and shields, 3 scouts with bows, and 1 regular scout with no war gear whatsoever, but he is a speedy boy. So this list has got a decent amount of numbers, 21 models. It all moves at 8 inches. There's no drum and no banner, which is the big... The first thing I noticed when I'm looking at this, because normally those are kind of auto-include when you're playing Scouts list. But yeah, you only have 320 points, so do you go for models or do you go for those things? So I kind of understand not bringing them, because that's how you get to this juicy 21 model count, and it's nothing to sniff at for Scouts. But it also feels kind of, I don't know, that's just the whole theme of the entire tournament. It's like all these lists are like, but it's missing all of these things. But yeah, it's only 320 points. What do you want?
Which choices did you make? I do like the fact that he has 8 bows, which is kind of terrifying. It's like there's a lot of players who barely even have 8 models on the board. So having 8 bows, if you can get like 2 or 3 turns of good shooting, it's going to be pretty devastating. 5 mites also pretty nice. And like we already said, Lurtz is a pretty good hero at this point level.
Yeah.
Fight 5 is good enough.
Yeah, the only thing that's kind of harsh in this kind of list, because you don't have that drum, cavalry is always going to outmaneuver you, and you have nothing to stop cavalry other than your bows. So if a cavalry army gets a charge on you, especially if these are heavy-hitting heroes on horse, this list could really struggle with it, because Lurtz will just die if a big cavalry hero charges on him and wins the strike off and a dual roll. And
he can't use his super cool shield throwing special rule on the cavalry model, which is a real shame.
Yeah.
Come on, guys.
Yeah. But it makes sense, because Aragorn wasn't on a horse, he was on foot.
Yeah, man, but if the rules writer is listening to this, please give it a small FAQ. It's not overpowered anyway. So.
Yeah, that's fair. It's actually very fair. No, but I actually do rate this list quite highly. I do really like it.
Same, and also think it's a smart list for a beginner player. I hope I don't insult you right now, but you told me it was your first tournament, so I assume you're a bit of a starter. And it's not too difficult. Everything's just fight 4. Everything has the same strength. Everything moves 8 inches, which is ridiculous. So I think it's a smart army to play.
Moving 4 inches and still being able to shoot with a strength 3 bow is also just pretty juicy.
Yeah, man. Yeah. Very nice.
Yeah.
So good luck, Darren. Yeah. I'm curious to see how far this goes. I think it's good at pretty much every scenario. So.
Yeah, I'd say so.
It might work. Nice. Let's go on to Dirk, who submitted this list yesterday. But it was actually a list ID that he stole from me. I think at least. I talked to Dirk in person because Dirk doesn't follow our Discord. And I said, hey, I'm organizing a tournament. Will you also come? And I said, I have this crazy list ID, which is just the Rangers of Mirkwood, which is basically just Legolas, Prince of Mirkwood, 14 Rangers and 1 Sentinel for a total of 316 points. It doesn't perfectly add up, but you have 16 elven bows. I just talked about how strong bows are in this list. Now you have 16, 18 shots if Legolas does his job well. And, oh man, I don't think he will get any sportsmanship votes. But he will probably...
I think this is actually filthy. This list is actual filth.
This is real filth, yeah.
Yeah. I think you should get minus points for stealing the idea from you and for submitting this list late, because the deadline was actually on Saturday. No, but jokes aside, somebody asked in chat, what's the chance that this list will have the highest amount of bows, when we were like discussing this Riders list, which had 8 bows. I was like, yeah, no, 0, because I've already saw this list.
Yeah, true.
Yeah, this is just nasty. The only downside is like everything is made out of paper because it's all defense 3, right? So as soon as you get into combat with an army that somehow manages to win fight against you, then your guys can just disappear. But the chances of that just happening are so small because you can control all of the engagements with the overwhelming amount of shooting.
Yeah, true. Plus you can shield everywhere. You still have 16 models, which is pretty high count for this tournament.
No banner. So there's actually one list I have in mind that I think will do quite well against this list. Actually, there's multiple lists that I think will do quite well against this, but we'll cover those later.
Yeah, true. But yeah, dear, thank you for bringing this list. He's actually the only one. I'm going to give a small spoiler. He's the only one. I expected more people to bring this list because it was my first idea. I'm also going to be taking my own list. I will show it at the end of the stream, but it won't be this one because you don't want to play against a ring army and see Rangers of Mirkwood.
Yeah. I mean, what are the Rangers going to do when all of the warriors of Numenor are going to stay outside of 24 inches and Isildur very slowly walks forward with the ring on?
That's a good question.
And there's nothing they can do about it. They're just going to get murdered one by Isildur.
Yeah, so Cornet, you have a job to do.
Yes.
And wake up on time and defeat this army. Yeah, Cornet. Counting on you, man. Nice. Now, nothing left to say about this list. It's really strong. I think it's going to be filthy strong. And I hope for Dirk that he doesn't roll Contest of Champions. I don't roll Contest of Champions for him.
I mean, honestly, Legolas could still win Contest of Champions quite easily.
Yeah, true. But he will probably be broken in one turn, so...
Fair.
We'll see. Let's continue. I hope I didn't misspell your name. I'm sorry, Jango. I hope this is the right way. I discussed it with myself the entire day. If it does or does not contain a D at the start.
Maybe it's silent like the movie.
Yeah, maybe it is. But yeah, this is his list. For some reason, his font in Tabletop Admiral was broken, so it looks a bit cheaper.
Yeah, I was going to say, this looks like the budget Tabletop Admiral. It's like you got it at a discount store, which is funny because it's free, but yeah.
Oh, actually, I do have a Patreon service for it.
Yeah, me too.
I think this guy deserves some money, man. It's like the best list builder ever.
Yeah, and it's like, what is it, like €1 a month or something? It's,
I think so.
Totally worth it. We're not sponsored, by the way, just saying, but this is worth it.
If you want to.
Yeah. Okay, so Lothlorien and Rivendell, we got 15 models led by Haldir with an elven cloak and a bow, 1 wood elf with a banner, a spear and throwing daggers, 2 wood elves with a bow, 2 more wood elves with throwing daggers and a spear, and then Gildor Inglorion, which has some Noldorian exiles which can move extra, 8-inch move on them. 4 of them have throwing daggers and other 4 have throwing daggers and spears. So this is also commonly referred to as pyjama elves because none of them have armor, even the heroes. So they're all at defense 3 and defense 4 maybe for Haldir and Gildor.
I think they're both defense 4.
I think
Not
so.
sure about Gildor. Haldir's 4.
Yeah.
Sure.
So this is, I think this is quite scary.
Yeah, I actually had a discussion with another player who will come up later about Haldir bringing armor or not. And I was like, you just place Haldir somewhere in a forest and you don't care about him. He will shoot some arrows. He will probably take an objective in the late game. He'll just save your VPs as a leader. I wasn't able to convince the other player. He is taking armor, but I really like this list for Jango. He's played it quite a lot. I'm a bit surprised by the banner, to be honest. I would not have taken the banner personally. I do understand that this is worth points, but you're never going to form like a proper battle line with this army. So who is this banner going to support? Because you don't want your Haldir to be anywhere near the front.
I think I know, and it's because this list only wants to kite. It doesn't want to have to engage. And if you're behind on banner VPs and you have to engage, that's a position you don't want to be in, because then your opponent's just going to run circles around buildings and just deny everything. So that's an argument. Really. I do agree with you that, you know, if you shave off some spears, you could probably get 3 models worth out of the banner, or just 2 and give some more people some upgrades, which might be worth it, because then you go to 17 models instead of 15, which is nice, but there's an argument to be made both ways, right? And when you do get a fight, and banners are more valuable if you have the higher fight value, so, you know, with elves and fight 5, I don't hate it. I get arguments both ways. It would definitely suck to be in a scenario where there's banner VPs and not having a banner, and then having this force made out of paper that just wants to sit back and shoot and not have to engage. And then you're like, you come up against a Suladon or something and they have a banner, and you're like, well, shit. Oh, Jango says in the chat that it's to force himself to finish painting the banner. I think that's the best reason to include it in your list. And no comments.
Can't argue with that.
Yeah, no arguments
there.
But
from competitive standpoint, I'm thinking about 2 things. I would personally take more bows in this Rivendell part. I think so. I know. I love elven bows. I love shooting.
You could fit 1 more bow in and still be in a limit.
Yeah, true.
That's it.
But yeah, if you have to paint this, it's the perfect argument. Can't bring any against it. I wouldn't bring. I'm not sure. I love having a squishy hull here. I played a game against you today, actually, Kevin, and you know that I love my squishy heroes. You know, give me my Thranduil with defense 4. I don't care. He wins anyway. So I'm always a fan of squishy leaders and heroes.
Honestly, I love seeing this, because that's also why I really like this tournament. It's because you'll see things that you normally don't. Pajama elves aren't that common, especially not at higher points levels. So I love it. I like it.
Yeah, true. And to be fair, those Noldorian exiles are really great at like capping objectives as well in the late game with the 8-inch movement and the courage 5. They won't run away easily.
Yeah.
And we might even see some Gildor magic. You never know.
Yeah, the infamous Gildor magic, which is rarely seen, because when you see Gildor, half the time it doesn't work anyways.
Yeah, indeed. So yeah, good luck, Jango. I hope it works for you. Thanks for showing us this list. Next, let's go to Erik, who is bringing Isengard. Oh, for the people who are very, very sharp, Jango was not in alphabetical order anymore because I had him sorted on the D at first. So yeah, that's why we already had the J. Now go back to the E.
Not sure anybody noticed.
No, maybe. Yeah, too late. Erik bringing Isengard. He's also bringing Lurtz with a shield, so that's why I'm curious about the shield part, because this is just Isengard. He's bringing 4 Uruk-hai warriors with crossbow, Warg Rider with shield and throwing spear, 1 Orc warrior with a shield, and 4 Orc warriors with spear. And then he's bringing Vrasku. 3 more Uruk-hai warriors with crossbow, 1 Uruk-hai berserker, 1 Orc warrior with shield, and 4 Orc warriors with spear. So pretty similar warbands, just 1 less Uruk-hai. A lot of crossbows. This is maybe the most passive army that I've seen so far.
Yeah, so this list differs from the other Isengard lists in 2 ways. It's the crossbows and it's Vrasku, right? Because Vrasku is, I think, the 3 attack here. No, it's the crossbow hero.
Yes, crossbow guy.
So he's got 2 crossbow shots with Vrasku and then 7 more crossbows. So this is all in on crossbows. 9 shots a turn, plus the 1 shot from Lurtz with his bow. So this is an Isengard shooting list without it being Assault on Helm's Deep.
Yeah, I agree.
I'm not sure I like it, because again, you have 8 models that need to sit still in order to be able to shoot. And you have nothing else to force your opponent to come towards you. So nothing stopping you, if there's enough terrain on the table, nothing stopping your opponent from just taking their time and skimming around buildings and things like that. So,
yeah, and I'm also a bit... Yeah, I've never played Isengard, but I do get the Orc Warriors for just some more models.
Yes.
I get it.
Yes.
They don't have the Isengard keyword today. Isengard.
No, I'm not an Isengard player, so maybe someone in the chat will correct us, but I don't think
it might be running
so.
away when you break. Just thinking about it, sorry. Just showing my big knowledge for no reason.
No. That's a good point, actually. So I think
But
if this list gets to do what it wants to do and sit somewhere, shoot until they run at you, and then engage them with the crossbows on front and the orc spears behind, then it will do incredibly well, because will have impacted some wounds on the opponent. And after that, it will just beat them by numbers and by 2 pretty decent combat heroes, because Vrasku can still fight pretty decently.
Yeah, he still fight 5 and strength 5, 2 attacks. He's a pretty beefy boy.
So in a straight up engagement, this list will really work really well. I'm just worried that it might be struggling for objectives if it has to move, because then those crossbows aren't doing anything.
True, but he does still have 6 points of might to march, because I think even Vrasku has march, which is ridiculous.
Well, that makes things interesting.
Correct me if I'm wrong, but I think that every bloody Isengard hero has march. So.
Yeah, Dustin says the orcs are the only non-Isengard units. So yes, the orcs don't have the Isengard keyword. And yes, Isengard has definitely been emptied for this tournament. There's a lot of Isengard. It's apparently people like it on low points.
Yeah, I think they've some pretty decent heroes.
Maybe they're on to something.
I'm curious by this list. I think like having or losing priority also matters a lot for this list with the crossbows. Like if you have priority, you're kind of screwed. I think you have to move with your crossbows because your opponent can just avoid them if they're standing still.
Yeah, or you have to do this thing where you move with half of your crossbows and leave half of them standing still. If you have like 2 little squads, like one of 4 crossbows, one of 3, and like Vrasku, then you can move with one of them, and then the other ones are threatening still a corridor, so the opponent can't just move freely.
I agree. And the strength 4 hits are threatening, yeah.
Yeah.
And don't forget Lurtz's bows, guys. Don't forget Lurtz has a bow.
Yes.
I love his bow. But thank you, Eric, for sending in your list. And I'll see how it goes. I don't know.
Yeah, good luck.
It's an open book for me. Let's go to Van, who's bringing a very fun list. I actually kept the amount of models you could take. You have to take at least 4 models. I was going to create some light, by the way. It's getting dark here. Hey, they can see me better. And Van stuck to that rule. He took 4 models.
Yes.
Do you want to do the honors? It's a fun list.
Yeah, so we've got the Witch King of Angmar with, I think, 15 will, 3 might, and 2 fate. 2 orc warriors, and with no gear, and the Spider Queen.
Yeah.
That's it.
And Witch King is on Felbeast.
Yes. Yeah, Felbeast and Crown, sorry. Very important part. So a whopping 4 models at 320 points. This is like, we see this approach sometimes when people are like, oh, I want to bring like some big heroes and just enough warriors that if you kill all of the warriors, then I'm not broken, which is what we're seeing here. Note that the brute-links that are being spit out by the Spider Queen also don't count for breaking and quartering. So even
I just want to ask that.
Yeah, even by killing those, you can't break this army. You have to kill either the Spider Queen or the Witch King. Now this concept,
basically got like 7 models. Yeah.
Yeah. So this concept usually is done with heroes that are very sturdy and very hard to kill. But here we see 2 heroes that are very fragile. They hit like a truck and they have a lot of tricks up their sleeve. But at the end of the day, the Spider Queen only has 2 attacks and has defense 4 or 5. It's kind of squishy, right?
Yeah.
And the same thing with the Witch King, only 1 wound. Yeah, sure, 3 fate and defense 8, but only fight 5 as well.
He's even going for 2 fate. To be fair, I've
seen 2 fate, yeah.
Like as a trend these days, a lot of people are bringing 2 fate Witch Kings. Yeah, Mirkwood is definitely going to have a blast against this. I agree.
Yeah, it's not the highest will list, but stay tuned for that one.
I do, however, have the feeling like he has a lot of time. 90 minutes for just moving 4 models. He can just wait for a perfect opportunity to lose priority, get in there, not take too many shots, and then there are not many heroes that can stop this, to be honest. Isildur, Witch King can see him.
Yes.
As we've seen so far, there's not any heroes that contest this.
Well, we saw Mirkwood. Mirkwood is going to have a field day against this, like Dirk Jan says. Lots of shooting.
Especially because of one special rule, Kevin. Do you know which one?
Oh, the extra +1 to wound against spiders?
Yeah, indeed.
Yeah, the Spider Queen just vanishes.
Indeed.
Yeah.
It does not count on shooting, though.
No. So, but it's very rare that they get to use that 1 bonus, so maybe they will at this tournament,
I agree.
Which is really funny. Yeah.
I think there was like a battle report on Less Alliance Noobs and Men where they just pitted them against each other. It was really unfair.
Yes.
It's a fun battle report.
So, but about the list,
it
can do really well. It requires a very good pilot to make the most out of it. And it is also susceptible to matchups and scenarios, because this will not do certain scenarios quite well. And with the Witch King, yes, he has 15 will, but if he needs to keep fighting and do a few spells, that 15 will is going to run out decently fast as well, especially against an army that has, like, I don't know, 20 to 30 models, or maybe even more, hint hint.
Yeah, true. But most
it's going to
leaders
struggle.
only have like 1 or 2 wheels, so I think it's. The only problem, I don't know Van. I've seen you around a couple of times, but I never played against you, so not sure how you're going to do this. I do think that this list can win. Depends on scenarios, of course.
Absolutely. No, it has very hard punch that there's not really any other list in this tournament can match. But also very big weaknesses, so it will be very interesting to see how it plays out.
Yeah. Well, thank you, Van, for this list. It's enjoyable, at least. Maybe not for your opponent, but for me. Yeah. Let's go to the next one. Let's go to Frank, who is bringing a Minas Tirith list, the first one. 21 models. He's bringing Hurin the Tall, Warden of the Keys, who has no one to protect because he will be the leader. On a horse, warrior of Minas Tirith with a banner, shield and spear, 4 warriors with a shield, 3 warriors with shield and spear, 1 knight with a shield, and 4 rangers with a spear. And then we have Beregond, and I have one interesting fact about Beregond. His horse only costs 5 points.
Yes.
Why? Is it like a discount horse? Is it an old horse or something? Is it like, why is his horse only 5 points?
Because he is barely a hero. So he gets the same price on his horse as the Rohan Royal Guard do. They hit pretty much the same anyway, so that's it's about accurate.
Yeah, but that surprised me while I was actually making this list for him. He has 2 warriors of Minas Tirith with shield, 1 with shield and spear, and 3 rangers with spear. So, very generic warrior frontline. Not 2 decent heroes. Hurin is a good hero. Beregond's trash.
Yeah. Yes.
He does have a bow, right?
He has a longbow and he has a shoot value of 3+.
Oh, that's actually.
And he has bodyguards, so as long as Hurin is alive, he will outpass courage. So he's actually really good at capping objectives and holding standfast there. If you also need to have it with multiple models, so there's definitely use cases for Beregond. He's also quite cheap, and yes, he only has 6 warband slots, but Frank has made the most use of it. This is the first list that we see with this amount of body count, and it has a banner, which I would like to draw your attention to. So. Also a suitable amount of shooting, so it's got 7 range in total, and Beregond with the longbow. So actually, decent amount of shooting as well. So it'll have a lot of control over like the battlefield. Where it struggles is the heroes are okay, but not fantastic. Like Hurin can absolutely murder everything if he wins, and he's only got 2 attacks and 3 on the charge, and if he's near the banner, that'll help a lot. But you might not always be able to take care of it. So I have kind of like a love-hate relationship with Hurin. I play him a lot. He always whiffs, but when he doesn't whiff, it's so good. So, yeah.
And he's quite squishy, but that's a point that I will bring up in the next list that we're going to watch. Small spoiler, also Minas Tirith. Hurin he only has 2 wounds, 1 fate, and defense 6.
Yes.
He can just suddenly die. Like if he whiffs, he gets 2 6s against him, he's just dead.
Yes.
That's quite scary for me.
Yes.
But I do get that he does have enough models. I do think he has to play Hurin a bit protected.
Yeah, so personally, if I was going to play this kind of style list, I would not bring Hurin at all. I would go for pure fortitude. So I would take either Ireless or Ingold as my leader, and then the second hero, another fortitude hero, either Ireless or Ingold, maybe Kyrian if you want 2 strikers. But have one of those heroes that can be supported by a spear, maybe be able to shield, have a higher defense value, and is generally harder to get to. Because Hurin kind of wants that flexibility to be able to ride around and charge things, and generally a hero like that is also harder to keep safe as your leader, and make good use out of. So you have a choice, do I risk him or do I keep him safe? You can't really do both, whereas with a hero in a shield wall, it's quite easy to just charge a few warriors with them and then keep them safe by just building that shield wall around them afterwards.
Yeah, I agree. So, Frank, it's your objective, man. Keep Hurin safe. If he managed to do it, because he does have enough bodies to just protect Hurin. And if he managed to do that, he can deal a lot of damage. Just call a lot of heroic combats, man. Just charge 2 warriors heroic combat. If it works, you win. If it doesn't, you lose. But at least you have a short game.
Don't listen to this advice.
Yeah, always listen to the TO, man. My word's always correct. I already spoiled it, but we're going to Frak next list. Also late entry, but also Minas Tirith. And let me first jump off. He has Faramir as his leader, captain of Gondor. With horse, heavy armor, lance and shield. So the full, not a bow. Almost a full kitchen sink.
No, it doesn't have the armored horse.
Oh, can he take that one?
Yes, he can take an armored horse.
But he can't take 2 horses, so...
No.
He has 5 knights of Minas Tirith with shield, 1 knight with a banner. And then a captain of Minas Tirith with horse and lance, and 3 more knights of Minas Tirith. They're totally different lists, because this is a full mounted Minas Tirith list.
Yeah.
But I do want to chat quickly about Faramir, because I used to hate Faramir.
Mm-hmm.
But recently I listened to some podcasts and people were talking about how he is way more survivable than Hurin. He's more expensive, I agree, but the defense 7 makes him actually decent leader, and I think he has 2 wounds and 2 fate, right? Instead of 1
Correct.
Fate. Well,
so I hate Faramir as well, because compared to Hurin fills the role of a heavy striker better. But when you're specifically talking about having a leader or a survivable hero, if you're like specifically building for one of those scenarios where it's kill the enemy heroes, then Faramir is better because of 2 fate and +1 defense and being able to shield. Normally, when you're taking these heroes, they're not going to be your leader. They're a support hero, and their job is to assassinate an enemy hero or to kill warriors. And then Hurin does the job better for less point costs. So there's almost never a reason to take Faramir. If you want a ranged hero, you take Madril. If you want a infantry tin can, then you take Ingold. So there's like always another hero that does the job better, except army leader. If you want a hero of valor that's your army leader, and you're not taking Denethor for some reason, like in this 320 point tournament, then yes, I can definitely agree that Faramir would be a decent choice over Hurin to be your army leader, just because of that survivability. And also I think he has an extra will, which will help against magic.
Oh yeah, true. That makes him a bit stronger. I do also like this list. I like full cav lists. It is, however, fight free, which is not the greatest ever. I am curious why he didn't give a shield to his banner. Maybe just he didn't want to convert it?
No, it's points.
You can take a shield away from someone else, right?
Yeah, fair enough. But then if your banner model already doesn't have a shield, then you might as well do it this way.
Yeah, I think it's a conversion choice.
Fair enough.
Otherwise, I know about this list. It's fun.
It's Faramir's charge. It's from the books. It's from the movies. It's a really good theme. I love it. Will do well. It depends on how well the charge goes.
Yeah, he might do just the same as in the books and the movies, Kevin, which means that Faramir will wait when he comes back.
Yes, when he gets dragged back to the gate unconscious. No, but you already mentioned it. It's fight 3. That's the main hurdle of this list. If Minas Tirith Cavalry was fight 4, we would be living in a very different meta. But unfortunately, it's not. So it's kind of It will charge a lot of things with fight 4, and then you're charging cavalry unit against probably 4 dice, because it's against 2 guys with 2 spear supports. And then those are just really, really small odds of winning your combats. But if you do win with the knockdowns, you will kill a lot of things, because they all have lances. So if the charge goes well, then you might be laughing all the way to the bank, but that's your only game plan.
Yeah, I agree. I do wonder, would there be a plan to not take a banner and upgrade your captain to King of Men? You can put him on a horse, right? With a lance.
You cannot take a King of Men if you have a named hero in your list.
Oh, sorry. Yeah.
So you could do that by upgrading Faramir to a King of Men, but that would be a downgrade. So I wouldn't do that.
And completely discard this idea. We're going to move on because we're only at list 10 and we're almost 50 minutes in. So this is going to take some time. Oh. But to save some time, look at this. It's a double list.
Oh, it's a double.
Yeah. I got a very angry text from Jasper. Wait, let's backtrack a little bit further. I got an angry text, not angry, but like a slightly upset message from Nino, who said, "Hey, Menno, if you're going to organize 320 points and don't cap some models, everyone will take bears. Everybody will take a bear." Well, spoiler alert, Nino, there are no bears. It's a bear-free zone. You can keep your spray at home. There will be no bears. But yeah, back to the original point. Jasper came up with this idea a long time ago. Like the first time I mentioned 320 points, he came up with this idea to bring Fangorn to take Treebeard with Merry and Pippin and an Ent, which is exactly 320 points, and it's 4 models. I came up with the 4 model cap on the tournament way after this, and he was still very happy because it was still within the rules to take this list. Yeah, it's an amazing list. It's so much fun to play. And I honestly think that also your opponent will have fun. Of course, you have those fight 8 ends, I think, fight 8, right? Or fight 7, maybe? Not sure. But I think your opponent just loves seeing 2 big trees coming at you.
So, hot take. I actually like this better than the Witch King and the Spider Queen list.
Yeah,
it has like 0 interaction, but it's so much harder to kill. And like Merry and Pippin, you can't really even get to. So it also kind of skirts around that part where it can break. You have to kill Treebeard basically and Merry and Pippin in order to break this list.
And you can't target them, so you have to kill Treebeard. Yeah. I do think it's going to be strong. I also do have some faith in Jasper because I've seen him play Treebeard a lot lately. He's been doing well with those crazy lists with Radagast and stuff.
Yeah.
Never seen Nino play it, but Nino is used to playing big bases with the Balrog. To be fair, Treebeard and Balrog are kind of the same ballpark. They're not the same, but they're both slow, huge bases, and they hit very hard. So,
I mean, they're nowhere near in the same ballpark because one's 150 points more expensive and not legal to play in this tournament. But I kind of see where you're coming from. No, but this is a very slow list. You can see what it's going to do from a mile away because it doesn't really have many things it can do. But it's very hard to stop. Like, what are you going to do about this? Especially depending on the scenario, there might not be that much you can do about it. So, yeah.
I think magic might be a bit of a problem. I think your Ent will just get sniped, but it's still hard. It's still an Ent.
They can't be moved against their will with the army bonus, which I'm not really sure how exactly that works with Compel and stuff, because I think that is still possible. But things like Sorcerer's Blast and Nature's Wrath and things like that don't do anything.
True. Well, we won't see any of them on the tournament. Oh, wait, maybe one.
Maybe one.
Let me think. But yeah, I love seeing Fangorn. It's really great models. I think it's perfect. I also think it's really cool, just to give a indirect compliment to myself and my own point value, that such a list is actually also, first of all, complete. You almost never see a Fangorn list at maximum points, which is quite a coincidence. But I do think they will perform pretty well. Of course, only 4 models. If you can even call them 4, with Merry and Pippin having to step off and then having to do a lot of work for their points value.
Well, they still count as being in range of an objective if they're actually on Treebeard, but
really
measured, right? Because that's how the Great Beast of Gorgoroth works. If the people in the thing are actually near the objective, then they count. So I imagine it's the same for them. So
yeah, I agree.
Yeah,
but yeah. And I completely forgot my point, but Nino stole this list, so Jasper's upset that Nino stole his list ID. I'm not sure how much they chatted between themselves. I do have to admit that Jasper was way earlier because he announced his list almost a year ago. So he was most certainly earlier than Nino, but
definitely first.
I'm sure who stole it.
I'm going to have a laugh if these two end up on the table against each other.
Oh, that would be nice. Top table or something. That would be really cool.
Yeah. Well, may the best Treebeard win.
Like 20 minutes game, but sure.
Yeah.
Cool. Let's go. We're going to Jimmy, who is going to play the Corsairs of Umbar. And Kevin, I think you made an entire video about the Corsairs of Umbar, so take it away, man.
Yes. So the Corsairs of Umbar, we've got 22 models. Dol Amroth, Fleet Master of Umbar, of course, as the leader, who has got 4 Corsairs with him with shield, 2 of them with spear, and 5 arbalesters, the crossbows with the defense 6 shield in front of them. Then he's got a bosun with him with a spear and a shield, which is why it comes out on 51 points, because the spear only costs 1 point. He's got 3 Corsairs with him with a shield, 1 Reaver with a weapon swap, which I imagine is to an axe or a pick, 3 Reavers with no weapon swaps, and 2 Corsair Arbalesters. So 7 crossbows in total. All of the regular Corsairs also have throwing daggers, so keep in mind of that. And then 4 Reavers for some extra attacks and some anti-terror capabilities. Corsairs was one of the first lists that I personally looked at when writing for this tournament, because they tend to be able to spam a lot of models because their heroes are relatively cheap, and be very scary in terms of having fight for and a lot of shooting.
Yeah, Yeah, I agree.
Don't underestimate that this list might not have a physical banner, but the bosun counts as a banner for Corsairs. So it actually does have rerolls on all of this, and 22 models, and lots of shooting. And Dol Amroth rerolls to wound all of his strikes with 3 attacks. The one Achilles heel of this list is there's only 3 might, 2 on your leader and 1 on the bosun.
Yeah.
So that's scary. You don't have much interaction in terms of heroic moves or combats or things like that. You have to be very careful with your might. But yeah,
and I think you need to play it slow. Like if you roll your priors wrong, just don't be too scared to just almost stall for a turn. You can play pretty fast with this amount of models on the table.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So
you need to use your shooting.
Yeah, you have to try to play the objective, but be smart about when you're going for the objective. You might actually have to give up the board initially and then kill some of your opponent as they come towards you, or if they're just standing on the objective, and then move forward. But then be careful that the game doesn't end too soon before you can grab the objective. So that balancing that tightrope is very difficult, and I've also done it quite a few times, of course.
I would never do that.
I failed it a few times, of Corsairs. It's also why taking a lot of shields in your Corsairs can be very useful, because then when you get into combat and you want to prevent your opponents from quartering, then you can just shield with everyone. It's a tricky, but I really like this list. It'll hit really hard, but also it can die really quickly if the wrong thing happens.
Yeah, indeed. He doesn't have many spears. He only has 2 spears, so it's going to be an almost full front line.
Yep.
Yeah,
I personally would have taken a few more spears, but then again, it's only 22 models, so front rank of 20 models is a lot, but still doable. Because that's the thing, right? With these,
it's easier to trap though. If you have more models, it's way easier to trap.
Yeah,
I think that's going to be the thing.
Yeah, so that's another thing that we haven't discussed yet. But we have smaller model counts because it's a smaller points level, but the tables are going to be just as large and have probably the same amount of terrain on them. So you have more space to work with. There's less bottlenecking going on because there's just less bodies around on the field. So you do need spears a little bit less than you normally would, because you might have the space to just get all of your warriors in anyways.
Yeah, there's going to be a lot of skirmishes. Hey, hence the name.
Very nice.
Jimmy is actually confirming it will be an X. Of course it will be an X.
Yes.
I do wonder if it's WYSIWYG, Jimmy. I'll be looking for that.
Ooh, careful.
And I do want to repeat Dustin's joke. He says that the mirror match between Treebeards will it be the quickest or slowest match ever.
Well, don't be hasty.
Yeah, we might force the players to talk very slowly.
Say good morning.
But I think Corsairs is just all around really good. We actually discussed in person today. I don't like bosuns, but that's a personal thing. Oh, sorry, there's a small fly in my room. But I can understand taking them. I
love bosuns. I love reavers, so I understand taking them.
We see. Good luck, Jimmy. Let's go to Jochem, who's taking a list that I absolutely love. He's bringing 38 models and he's playing the Chiefs, Ruffians, Sharky and Worm for 60 points combined. 6 Ruffians with bows, 9 Ruffians with whips. Then he brings Sid Briarthorn. And Kevin, you know all the models in the game. Tell me, what does Sid Briarthorn do?
I have no idea. I have played with Sid Briarthorn once, and this was in a tournament organized in the south of the Netherlands at someone's home. And then you didn't bring your own army. You got assigned a table, and that table was a thematic matchup. So one of the tables was the matchup of Ruffians against the Shire, and I had to play against Larry on that table. And since then I hate Ruffians. They're useless. They got absolutely slaughtered because they don't have spears or anything. But I think he did something with plus fight against hobbits or something. I don't know. Maybe someone in the chat will correct me.
No, they can paralyze hobbits, which is really cool.
That's
they can stuff them in the back, like Bill the Troll, I think.
That's
but that Sandyman is a hobbit guy. I don't even think I read your entire list, but it's 6 more Ruffians with bow, 8 with whips, and then that Sandyman, who's actually a pretty cool character. I think he can, I hope I'm correct, I think he can buff the fight value of hobbits, which makes them fight 2, which is useless. I think he can...
No, I think the militia fight 2, right? So then they would become fight 3?
I think he can pay models to get their courage test or something. I have never played that. I do have him somewhere in my closet, but I've never played it. But I love this list. 12 bows, which they're they hit on a 4, so they're not terrible. And there's 12 of them, which is a lot.
Yeah, and the whips are all throwing weapons that will also hit on 4, so there's lots of shooting into combat going on. They only have a range of like 2 or 3 inches, I think, though. So
yeah, 3 inches and their strength 1, but yeah.
I mean, it's
if you
something.
have a lot of them, they're really cool.
It's let's put it this way: it's 38 models, of which at least 34 of them have a shooting attack.
That's true, and never underestimate Sharky, who I think has like a 2-up, like 18-inch transfix or something. It's really ridiculous.
Yeah, but he's got like 1 or 2 will.
Yeah, okay, no, I think he has like 3.
I don't know. We are not familiar with this list. That much is obvious, and I didn't do research on it.
Sorry, Jochen.
But I will say 2 things actually. First, if there's ever a points level at where ruffians would be doable, then the lower the better, right? Because you don't have spears, but like I mentioned earlier, with less models, there's relatively more space per model. Maybe you can actually get them all into a fight. And you're also having less in the ways for yourself for your shooting, so that trick might actually do something. And the other
he does have enough bows to like force the enemy. Like the enemy can't just stand in the bottleneck, because then we just receive 12 bow shots each turn and still die. So he has enough models to force.
Oh, absolutely. I mean, 38 models is nothing to sniff at. And somebody said this is a shooting gallery for Mirkwood Rangers. I mean, maybe you're correct, but every ranger that dies to shooting is felt a lot more than every ruffian that dies to shooting. So maybe the ruffians will actually win that shooting war.
Jochen is actually helping us. He says that does nothing, but he's a pattern for ruffians. Doesn't he have like 2 attacks as well? I think. Oh, that sentiment is a banner, of course. Yeah. Sid, I don't know. I think Sid Brightthorn is like the only. I think he's like a fight-free hero, and he's the only one that can actually
do
fight
something
a little bit.
Yeah.
Compared to.
So I will say, I was talking to Luca Comaretto in the German GT that I attended recently. And Luca, for those who don't know, is one of the top players from Italy. And he's legit considering ruffians as like a decent army for tournament play, because of all the shooting into combat and all of the Harry Goatleaf shenanigans where he can like paralyze a model with his lantern for a turn, and all of the shenanigans that they have. I'm not sure I'm buying what he's selling, but there's one super competitive player that thinks ruffians is very good. So there you go.
I remember playing against Dirk, and he actually crushed me playing ruffians. Yeah, I was really bad back in the day. Still am.
My one experience with ruffians wasn't good. Okay, let's keep it at that.
Next list is you.
Yes, I'm also
away.
playing. This is my list, which is the Earl the Young with Minas Tirith list that I'm known to play on slightly larger points levels. And so Earl the Young is the leader of 3 Sons of Earl, and then he's bringing a Knight of the White Tower along with him with 5 Warriors of Minas Tirith with shield, 4 Rangers with spear, and 1 Warrior of Minas Tirith with shield and spear, because I had a point left over. So originally I wanted to play Earl with 8 Sons, 4 Outwalkers, and 1 Outrider. But that required me to paint some models, and I didn't want to commit to a list that I still had to paint things for. So I decided to stick with my roots. And also I was really missing having another source of fight 5 or strike in the list, and some more might. So that's the Knight of the White Tower is a very nice addition that way. But I think Earl can do a lot of work. I'm hoping he can do a lot of work. For me,
I feel like so far he's one of the strongest heroes we've seen.
Well, I mean, we've seen the Witch King of Angmar, Spy the Queen.
Yeah, of course, he's better, but like on the field itself, he easily kills like 2 warriors a turn.
Yeah. I mean, he can do a lot of work, but my experience of Earl has been a lot of whiffs. He doesn't really roll a 6, or when he's spending his first might of the turn, which he can get free on a 4+. I usually don't roll that 4+. So when you're looking at it that way, it's not very good. But yeah, I mean, I feel pretty comfortable with this list because I've played at larger points values a lot, and scaling down it actually still works decently well. Only 3 Sons of Earl, but it might be enough. But if I'm looking at all the other lists people are bringing, there's a lot of things in there where I'm like, I don't know. So yeah, we'll see.
It does somehow feel a little bit small, your list, because your Warriors of Minas Tirith, they kill nothing, of course, because they're warriors.
Yes.
You can form a very small, like, shield wall. 5 models shield wall.
But if I stagger them out so that cavalry base can fit through, and when people charge me, then the Suns come in.
That's good.
And you're also all planned.
You're also better protected against hurls, so yeah.
Yes. It's all part of the plan.
I do really like this list. I think it's also like a character list from you, Earl the Young. I don't know anybody who plays the Earl the Young, and you're like the only one. Yep. So it fits you.
Yeah. I don't know. We'll see. Maybe I can get finally get some value out of Earl. Because usually when I win, it's not because of Earl. It's because the rest of the army did something and Earl just kind of was there.
Maybe his sons. He brought 3 of them.
Yes.
Nice, man. No, I like this list, and I feel it's like it's well-rounded.
Yeah, and like just to sing the Earl son's praises for those who aren't aware, within 6 inches of Earl they get +1 attack. So there'll be 2 attack base, 3 attacks on the charge. They're strength 4 base, but they have the Rohan army bonus, so they go to strength 5 on the charge, and they have access. So if you want to, you can piercing strike to strength 6, and if you knock something down, you get 6 strikes at strength 6 on something. So if they win a combat, they absolutely murder something. The downside is they're only fight 4, so if you're up against like another army with decent numbers and fight 4, it can be quite tricky to win those fights, because usually they're stacking warriors and spear supports against you.
Dude, that's a perfect segue, because if we're talking about armies with fight 4 and decent numbers, we're going to Larry. Who has a shit ton of numbers with fight 4. It's the army of Lake Town. It's the master of Lake Town, bringing 4 Lake Town guards, 5 Lake Town guards with spear, and 4 Lake Town guards with bow. Alfred the counselor. I wouldn't take his counsel personally, but he has 3 Lake Town guards, 4 Lake Town guards with spear, and 4 Lake Town guards with bow. And then we have Braga, captain of the guard, with 3 Lake Town guards, 4 Lake Town with spear, and 4 Lake Town with bow. Whew, that's a long list. 38 models, 12 bows as well.
Yeah.
It's basically a Ruffians list.
So this is basically Ruffians but better when you look at it. So Master of Lake Town is a 12-inch banner if he spends a point of might. So it's like a heroic action at the start of the fight phase. And everything within 12 inches, well, all Lake Town Guard and Braga get +1 fight. So it suddenly becomes a fight 4 army with spear supports. And they all have banner rerolls. And that's at 38 models at 320 points. It's absolutely insane. Larry has been playing the Army of Lake Town for a long time now. He used to ally it in with all of the things before it got nerfed, and you had to ally in Bard as well and still be able to do it. But as a pure army, it's still incredibly effective. So this, for me, is my favorite to win the event, both because his list is really strong and the player behind it really knows what he's doing. I hate Lake Town because I think it's busted. I think the heroes are too cheap for what they do. The guards themselves are alright, but the effects that the heroes provide are so strong, and they cost nothing. Like, look at this, 50 points for a 12-inch banner and a +1 fight bonus. The Emperor is 200 points and does kind of the same thing. Sure, the Emperor can fight like hell, but when you compare these things, it's kind of crazy.
There are no emperors here, man. No emperor discussions in this channel.
Yeah.
No, but I do agree. Especially Braga's busted as hell, man.
Yeah.
50 points for that guy. He's basically Earl the Young. He's Earl the very young, Earl the baby or something.
Yep.
Gets his heroics back. Yeah, the only problem I see with this list, not problem, only challenge is when the opponent has a very, like a fight 5 free heroic combat hero. But to my knowledge, there's only one on this tournament. So I think there's only one list who this list will truly struggle against.
Honestly, even then, they can only kill so many models per turn. And there will come a turn where they fluff, and if the Lake Town player keeps ramming all of the models into there, the turn that they lose a combat, that hero's just gone.
Yeah,
because it'll be trapped. It'll get like a bajillion strikes on it, and it's just game over. Or they can send Braga into that hero and just sandbag that hero for like 5 or 6 turns, because Alfred can give 3 extra might to Braga and he can call heroic defense for days.
Yeah, true.
Like, these are all possible.
It is a very characteristic army for Larry, though. It's really his army.
Yes.
And I also do understand that he kind of wants to win because he had to leave the last tournament, which was a 100-point tournament. So he has some catching up to do with his tournament ranking is not.
Well, that's a good point, actually, because I don't think we mentioned it, but this tournament does score points for the league, right? The Dutch league.
Yeah, it does. It's an 80-pointer.
Yeah. So there's some merit to just bringing the best you can and trying to win the event, because that's still 80 points for the league.
Yeah, and to be honest, I didn't try to push down the competitiveness of this tournament. It's just a different point level, but I didn't try to stop anyone from being competitive. You're completely free to.
Yep, absolutely. No, like I said, I think this is my favorite to win the event.
Yeah, I think so too, especially with Larry wielding it. But yeah, never know. Maybe Alfred also only once. You never know. Let's go to Mark, and we'll quickly discuss him because I just received an email from Mark that he won't be attending, so this list won't be played.
Oh, that's unfortunate.
Yeah. unfortunately he has too much of a personal life to play Lord of the Rings. But he was going to bring Aragorn Strider in the Great Company with 5 Rangers of the North. But yeah, he won't be there, so not too much discussion. I think this would have been a strong list, but I really don't like Aragorn on foot. I always play Aragorn mounted. And the Rule is way overrated for its point level. Just buy a horse, it's way better. That's the only thing I have to say about this list.
Larry says in the chat, please don't roll Contest of Champions. That's a good point, actually. That's the one way he won't win the event, is if Contest of Champions is rolled and he's up against like something like Sauron, like what happened in Belfast.
This is a good test, because Larry is known for always knowing which pools has which scenarios. But Larry, do you also know which number is Contest of Champions? Which number do I not need to roll?
On a D20.
On a D20. Okay. But let's skip Mark for now, because he won't be attending. I'm sorry, Mark. I'm going to be missing you.
It's a shame, because the Great Company is a cool list that you don't see that often, so unfortunate.
And he actually took, I think it was either third place on the doubles tournament, together with Peter, with Great Company, which really surprised me. So, he has been known to be able to play this list.
Yeah, no.
Oh, he's actually watching. We're going to miss you, Mark.
Definitely.
But luckily, as a compensation for Mark, we have Marcus. Almost the same guy. Also, his first tournament, I think I talked about him. This is the guy who I talked about, Haldir bringing heavy armor, which he shouldn't have taken, but I do get it. Especially, when it's one of your first tournaments, I can understand it's pretty scary to give your leader defense 4. But leaders just have to win fights, guys. Don't give them armor.
No, but it's so that he looks the part next to his shiny buddies who are also wearing heavy armor.
I do really like this list, so I will read out the list because I really love this list. It's Haldir with an elf bow and heavy armor. It's bringing 2 Gladiator warriors with shields, 2 warriors with shield and spear, and 3 warriors with a bow. And then Elf Helm, Captain of Rohan on a horse, with 5 royal guards on horse with throwing spears. 14 models, 4 bows, 6 mites. I really, really, really like Elf Helm. And I do get that it's a problem that he's only fight 4, but it's such a cool model. Also the sculpt itself, it's so cool.
He's the guy with rerolls for his throwing spear, right?
Yeah, to wound and to hit.
Yeah. And a 3+ shoot value as well, so
yeah,
that's pretty spicy.
One of your best strategies there is just to run into the enemy hero, mounted hero, hit the horse, spend some might on it. You don't care, you just kill the horse. And he also has heroic defense, so for the next couple of turns you just stall the enemy hero by calling heroic defense. Yeah.
So I'm gonna do a hot take here. I personally think Haldir is like very mid. Like whenever I see a Haldir on the other side of the field, I'm like, oh, it's Haldir.
Yeah, Haldir's trash. That's why I only give him a bow. You know, don't spend any points on Haldir. Just give him a bow. That's enough. 75 points, he's fine, but 85. No.
So I like this list. Personally, I think I would have dropped the Royal Guard count by 2, maybe even 3, to get some more elves in there, to get some more bodies, because you might struggle to fit all of those mounted units, all 6 of those in at the same time, especially if you're trying to fight with the elves at the same time. And you might also be able to get like 1 more bow, elf bow in there, which would be useful. But other than that, I think this is a well-rounded list. It's got some mobility, it's got some hitting power, it's got some shooting. It just doesn't have a lot of numbers, which is its main struggle.
I agree. And the elves don't have a banner, so they might fall faster than you think.
Yeah.
Especially because he won't be able to like form a shield wall because he has 2 shields and 2 shield spears.
Yeah.
And then it doesn't exactly work, I think. I would have put some spears on the bows and get some more frontline guys.
Yeah. So that's what I'm saying. Like drop some royal guards. Also, they're not as good if Theoden is in the round because they don't get that +1 fight on the charge. So they're always fight 4, which is another argument just to get a few more elves. But other than that, I really like the concept of this list.
Yeah, and I love Elfhelm. I talked with him about his list, and I really like Elfhelm. And don't take heavy armor on Haldir, guys. That's my personal advice. And everybody in the chat agrees with me, so
yeah.
Nice. But yeah, Marcus also his first tournament, so I hope he has a good time. And, I think this list will be decent. Decent tier. Let's continue to Mats. Bringing the Mordor and Serpent Horde.
Yeah, he's got Suladan the Serpent, which is the first Suladan that we're seeing, I think.
Yeah. Which
really surprised me because I expected a lot more Suladans because it's a really efficient way to get a good hero and a banner in your list. Sul'dan, of course, on an armored horse. He is not bringing his bow this time. 7 serpent guards, 3 Horadrim warriors with bows, 1 serpent rider, 3 Morannon orcs with shield, 4 Morannon orcs with spear shield, led by Gorbag, the orc captain, as a green ally. So Sul'dan's going to be the leader as a hero of legend. I like this list. It's like a budget version of the very popular Mordor and Serpent Horde alliance that you see right now. And usually in that alliance, the Witch King's the leader and Sul'dan's kind of like playing support.
Yeah.
But now Sul'dan's the leader and he has like a little orc captain with him for some might. I think Gorbag can strike, but I'm not sure.
Yeah, Gorbag's amazing. He fights for himself. He gets to fight 5 when he engages 2 enemies at the same time, and he can strike.
Yeah.
He has the option for a shield. He hasn't taken that. I do get it when it's not your...
Yeah, it's points as well, right? Because 5 points is a lot when it's 320, and you don't really care about the defense on the hero.
But yeah, I do really like this list. It has a lot of punching power. It has 3 bows, which are just honestly bows. I assume you could have taken a bit more.
Yeah, so that's my main remark. Is I think there's too many serpent guard here.
Yeah,
because those are 7 spears, and your Morannons also have 4 spears on them. So there's a lot of spears in this list, more than you need. And there's not enough bows. So I would have...
He does bring the fight 4, I think. Yeah.
Yes. But if your plan is to support your Morannons with serpent guards, then why are there 4 spears on the Morannons? You could have dropped those spears and maybe, drop the serpent guard, get some warriors with bows going on, or I don't know. It just misses that balance a little bit. I think there's too many serpent guards, and you're not capitalizing on that really nice Horadrim shooting. Because you could also drop the spears on the Morannons and maybe downgrade some serpent guards, and then get a tracker or 2 in the orc force, because the trackers are not to be underestimated. They're really cheap shooting as well.
They're amazing, man. Oh, I love trackers. Absolutely love them.
So
I think it's a good list, but it could use a little bit of fine tuning. Maybe Mats just really likes the serpent guards. I think the models are absolute trash. I hate them, but that's my personal opinion.
Oh, you mean like aesthetics or?
Yeah, I hate metal models. What are those pointy things on their back, man? It's like they're all carrying like. It's not a shield, but it looks a little bit like a shield. What is it like?
Yeah, so I own 3 serpent guards, but I only own them as a dismount for my serpent riders, which I love serpent riders, by the way. There's one in here, fight 4 cavalry with a poisoned war spear. Oof,
oh, they're really good.
It's so good, and only for 13 points. It's such nice.
Disgusting, man.
I rate it really highly. So yeah, I think this list will do well simply because it's got Sul'dan in it. It's a really good model, a 6-inch banner. What more do you want?
Man. Don't underestimate Gorbag. It's an amazing model. For 55 points,
yeah.
free might as well. So don't forget.
Yeah. It's like, there's still tweaks possible, but in general, I really like the concept, and I think this will do really well.
Yeah, indeed. So yeah, Mats, haven't met him before. Might be also a first-time player. I got so many emails, guys. I'm sure I don't recognize all your names anymore. But I wish you good luck, Mats. I'm always going to make them more English, those names. Mats.
Matty.
Let's go to the next one, and I absolutely adore this list. We have seen the Ruffians, and now we see the defenders of the Shires with also 38 models. There are a lot of lists with 38 models, which is just a coincidence, I think. He's of course bringing Moria, dog captain of the Shire with an elven cloak, which we'll talk about later. He's bringing 7 Hobbit militias with the battling Brandybuck upgrade, so they'll be strength 3 instead of strength 2. And I'll assume he bring axes on them so they can become strength 4. He's got 3 Hobbit archers. Then he got Peregrine, captain of the Shire with the shield, with 5 Hobbit militia and 3 sheriffs. Then he got Farmer Maggot with of course Gripwang, Fang and Wolf and 3 archers. And the final is Will Whitfoot, the mayor of Hobbiton, with 5 militia and 5 archers. Question for you, Kevin. What does Will Whitfoot do? I actually know this one, but I'm curious if you know.
I have no idea. No.
He can spend a point of will to become a 6-inch banner, which actually is pretty good.
That actually was my guess. I thought, well, he's a mayor. He's probably got like some kind of spend a resource to become a banner effect. So
it's a 6-inch banner, which is actually pretty amazing.
That's pretty good.
I'm really curious about, but I somehow also get it, the elven cloak on Mary.
Well, he's your leader, right?
Yeah.
So hide him behind the tree.
So yeah, that's the thing. But he does have 2 might, and he has strike. So he's like one of the 2 guys who can fight. Don't underestimate the dogs, by the way. The dogs are amazing, but he's one of your only heroes who can fight.
He already has 38 models. I don't think he needs one more Hobbit, so I like the cloak.
Yeah.
Just if you can stand behind a fence or something, and the enemy can't cast magic at you, can't cast shield, or can't shoot at you, yeah, that's worth 5 points.
Yeah, true story.
Yeah.
Otherwise, the only thing I'm a bit. I think it's weird that he only has 11 bows. He can take a lot more, right? With 38 models, he could be able to.
Yeah, that's a good point actually.
He might just not want the archers. I do get that when you take archers in Peregrine's warbands, they have to be upgraded to. I don't even know their name because they're so bad. They become fight 3 archers. You never want to have them. So I do get the fact that Peregrine doesn't have any archers, but otherwise I would.
So Fan asks a good question in the chat. He's asking how many traps does his list bring?
8.
Yeah, it's a
just 8.
It's just 8 because it doesn't have the hero that normally brings traps. Because then it would be double, right?
Yeah, indeed.
Yeah. So it's just 8. I think this might be one of the few lists that could actually take on the army of Lake Town pure on numbers because of the shooting. Like if it's one of those scenarios where army of Lake Town has to advance to the hobbits and the hobbits get off a few good rounds of shooting, they might whittle them down far enough that they have a chance, especially with the 6-inch banner around, but they don't have spear supports and the army of Lake Town does. So it's still very iffy. I still think I favor Army of Lake Town in that matchup.
True, but on itself it's an amazing list because you have the doggos to take your objectives. They're courage 6 as long as Farmer Megan is alive, which is ridiculous.
Yes.
So it's very strong. Very strong.
I think this will do really well. It's one of the classic horde lists, right? And the lower the points are, the better it does.
Yeah, true. I do hope he plays fast enough. 38 models is a lot to move. And they're very slow. I've played a lot of hobbits, so I know from experience that tournaments and hobbits don't mix very well together. So it's a small tip from you if you're watching. Just make sure you do your deployment fast and make sure you put some tempo into your game.
Yeah, play fast. And maybe if you're worried about it, make a cheat sheet for your opponents with the ability of your heroes, so that you don't have to keep explaining it to them, because that also costs time, right?
Yeah, true. Yeah, but yeah, it will be good. Very good list. It's time for some evil lists. Let's go to Mordor. On Nicola, also first time tournament player. Do you want to do the honors?
Yeah, so we've got the most budget of race, 2 Might and Fate, nothing else. So the base 7 will. It is on a horse though, with 5 Black Numenorians, 4 Moradins with shield and spear, 1 Warg Rider with throwing spears and a shield, 2 trackers, and then Gorbak again, who now does have a shield, with 4 Black Numenorians, 3 Moradins with shield and spear, 1 Warg Rider with shield and throwing spears. So I think what happened here is that Gorbak is actually the leader. That would explain why the shield is on there, because a normal Ringwraith is actually Hero of Fortitude, so Gorbak could be the leader in this case, and also what I would personally recommend, I think. Because, I don't know, it's, maybe?
I know, defense 8 is nice though, on a Ringwraith.
Yeah, but
with a horse he's quite...
Just 1 Fate and only 7 will, there's a very real chance that your opponent will just tag it often enough that it just dies because it runs out of will.
Yeah, the 7 will is an issue. I do have to say, I think this is so far like the most nicely rounded off list. I think he has everything. He has some shooting, he has some Warg Riders for mobility, he has decent might.
Yeah, but I will say, there's no banner. So this is another one of those lists where it's like around a 20-22 mark, which we see a lot of, but this one doesn't have a banner.
True.
So that could actually be a big role, because those banner rerolls, man, like every fight that you win instead of lose, it's so big, especially when the armies are this small.
He does have 9 Black Numenorians, and we haven't seen, I'm not going to say any, but we haven't seen a lot of Fearless or Bodyguards so far.
We've seen a fair amount of Royal Guards from Rohan.
Yeah, but we're now in list number 20. I think we only 2 lists of them with them. So
yeah, especially with the Harbinger of Evil, there's
it's going to be huge.
It'll be hard to charge the Black Numenorians. So no, I like the list. I'm not sure about the hero selection.
Yeah, I get it.
Because if you're really honest, you could get to a similar body count if you drop Gorbak and just shove all of his points and upgrade the Ringwraith to the Witch King of Angmar. On a horse with Crown of Morgul, 3 Might, 3 Fate, extra will, the whole kit and caboodle. And then you just fill up the warband with 18 models. Then you're at 19 models total instead of 22.
Yeah, but I think it's scary to play only one warband. I do get it. It does also work. I do think, however, this is a very well-rounded list. I actually like it. It's also good for a beginner list, maybe.
Yeah, no,
Like
it'll work really well.
If you play just the Witch King, you need to do everything with the Witch King. And right now you have Gorbek as a backup. Also, 3 might's really nice.
Yeah.
Going up to 5 might.
Yeah, no, it's definitely decent in that regard. It's just the will on the Wraith, 7 will. It's you're really hoping to roll well if you're casting, so that you only need 1 dice every time.
Yeah, true. But yeah, I like the list. A first time tournament, so I'm curious to see how he does. Hopefully he enjoys it.
Yep.
It's time for a great list. I think you will enjoy this.
Yes.
It's the Rangers. It's just Rangers. No, Pim is bringing this crazy list. I don't think Pim is watching. If you are Pim, please give us a comment. He's bringing Halberd without a banner. Come on, Pim, what are you doing? And he's bringing a weird setup of first putting 3 Dunedain in the warband, and then giving 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, right? Yeah, 8. Yeah, 8. No, 7.
7.
1, 2,
7
7,
ones. Yeah.
So it's 10 Dunedain and Halberd. 13 might, 11 bows. I really like this list, but I do know the reason why he's taking Halberd. I talked with him about it. He doesn't have the official Dunedain models, so he's going to bring Rangers, Gondor. But we talked about the fact that, of course, it's not WYSIWYG, but it's nice against your opponent to have all the models the same. So if you take Arathorn instead of Halberd, you do have to bring some Rangers of the North instead of Dunedain, and then you have mixed models which are not the correct models, which would make it very hard for your opponent to recognize what is what, and that's not very nice in your in a tournament. So that's why he's bringing Halberd with just Dunedain. So it is a good guy move to do this.
Yeah. So the chat asks, is this the most might list? And I think the answer is yes.
Hey, spoilers here.
Although technically, there are lists that could have infinite might usage. Not necessarily might in terms of resources that they start with, but...
Yeah, and you've already tried this today, it doesn't work.
I know.
No, yeah, Pim by far, and not only the most might, also the most fate of all, because they all have a point of fate, so yes.
But not the most will, because there's casters out there with more
Yeah,
will.
he doesn't have the most will.
Yeah.
We will still have to see the list with the most will. But hey, Kevin, that is the thing to keep the viewers sharp, man.
Yeah.
Don't spoiling too much.
No.
Keep too much. No, I think this list will perform very well. Pim has never played this one, and the funny thing is, Pim really hates shooting lists. His playstyle is just playing Azog, smashing your head in there, and then hopefully winning, and he wins quite a lot, to be honest. So I do wonder, I love Pim, but I think that he's going to be salty the entire tournament because of his shooting. I hope not.
Oh boy. Yeah, it's a lot. So let's talk about the shooting, because it's 11 bows, but it's not just 11 bows. It's 11 bows with a 3-up shoot value, and they all have a point of might.
Yeah.
So you actually see this in Conquest Creations and Last Lines of Noobs and Men. Sean plays this list as well. And basically what he will do is, whenever his shooting needs a +1 to wound, he'll just spend that point of might if it kills a model. No questions asked. Like every time you can spend might to kill a model, you just do it. And if you do that, that's like 10 kills over the course of the game that you have of shooting that you otherwise wouldn't. So don't underestimate those might points. Sure, you're not using them for a move then, or a combat or whatever, but they were not likely to do that anyways. So they can really put the hurt down with shooting if they want to spend the resources on it.
Yeah, and especially like in the shootout, when you're both shooting, you just target their archers, and if you just kill 4 or 5 archers in the turn, you're going to win the shooting war.
Yeah. And Larry also raises a good point in Pim's defense. Like, he hasn't just been playing Smash armies, he also has been playing Assault and Helm's Deep recently.
Yeah, but Larry, to be honest, Pim wasn't very pleasant when playing Helms. Okay, I'll keep my mouth shut. Pim, I love you, man. You're a great guy. I hope he enjoys playing this. The funny thing is that with this setup of the tournament, we might actually play 3 Maelstrom scenarios, and I think Rangers in Maelstrom is one of the most funny things ever, because your entire army is just scattered.
Well, it depends on your definition of fun and who who you are, the opponent or the player.
They will at least be very like mixed games.
Yeah.
Oh yeah. Tim gives a shout out to Sean Rosato. Yeah, he might be watching actually. Because I think Sean mentioned or either your channel or your name once, so he knows of this channel.
Yes, but do you know what time it is in Australia right now? He's definitely not watching.
You don't know, man. He has a crappy sleeping schedule. We all know that.
Fair enough.
Next one. Now, I think this list is going to do... It might do a great job. It's honestly pretty strong. It's fight 4. It has multiple attacks and so much might. So it might do a good job. I think it's going to cry when it faces Army of Lake Town. But maybe for shooting.
I mean, if you spend enough shots and the Master of Lake Town is visible, you can maybe kill it.
Yeah,
but Larry would never put the Master out in the open, so that's not going to happen.
Nice. Hey, let's keep going. We're going to a list from Ricky, who is going to play the Fiefdoms. He's playing Forlong the Fat as his leader, on horse, with 2 knights of Dol Amroth, with armored horse and lance, and then he says Dwinhere. I think you're on Dwinhere, right? That sounds the best.
Dwinhere or Doonhere or something, I don't know.
Sounds trash. Dwinhere.
Yeah, Dwinhere,
with
sure.
6 knights, so the foot models, 6 knights, 5 Blackroot Vale archers with spear, and 2 axemen of Lothlorien.
So I have opinions.
Oh, that's fast.
Why Dwinhere instead of Angmar?
Well, because Dwinhere is very fun and Angmar.
No, it's one less point of might. It's Dwinhere doesn't really do anything, especially if you only have 5 archers. Yeah. Every time I've played against a Fiefdoms player, Dwinhere does nothing. And I talk with them afterwards. And I'm like, why didn't you bring Angmar? And then we talk about it, and they're like, you know what? I never thought about it because it seems so logical to bring a ranged hero. It seems like it rounds the list out really well. But when you really think about the role in the army and that you kind of want your heroes with the fighting line to use their might, etc., he just doesn't really do anything. Other than that, I love this list. It's just it's the wrong hero. It's just yeah.
I agree.
But Angmar is just really good. The only thing here is that I think this list has no strike at all. So
That's
you're
true.
very, very vulnerable to just fight 6 or a hero with strike.
And I know. I was thinking about Fiefdoms for a short. I don't even have the army, but I was just looking around for options. And I think Fiefdoms only works when you take Prince Imriel. Prince Imriel is way too expensive for this point level.
Yes.
But without it, the army doesn't really work. I'm not sure about what's Forlong going to do, because Forlong will just find another fight 5 hero that's going to strike and be useless. The 2 knights don't get a banner and they don't get the fight buff.
Yeah, so
I'm not sure about this list.
I wonder what happens if you just do take Imriel and you just take no other heroes and just fill up his warband.
Yeah.
I don't think it's very good, but yeah, I don't know. The army that we're seeing here is very good. The heroes are kind of mid. So we'll see.
Oh, comments are very helpful. They said he played a practice match against him. He said he regrets taking Dwinhere.
Okay. That makes me feel better.
But Ricky, I hope you have a good time with this list.
Yeah, it'll still do well. Like the warriors are really solid. And Dwinhere can do really well if he managed to get that lucky shot against a Fell Beast of the Witch King or the Spider Queen, for example, because he does have that go for the eyes special rule or something.
Yeah.
Against monsters.
He can one-shot his Spider Queen, which is really cool, and he just has 2 might too.
Yeah, because he does D3 wounds, right?
Yeah.
Because that would be hilarious. Okay.
It might just insta.
If you insta kill the Spider Queen with Dwinhere, I will buy you a beer. There you go.
Yeah. Can't do that as a store, unfortunately, but we'll manage a beer for you.
I'll buy you a beer at the next tournament.
But thanks for coming, Ricky. Is it your first tournament, by the way, Ricky? I don't recognize your name. I've seen it in the email list, but I am curious if it's your first tournament. If so, I really hope you enjoy it. Let's go to the next R, which will be... Do you know, Kevin?
Ronnie.
Yeah, indeed, Ronnie. Oh, we actually have a third R in this list. Nice. Who's going to play Moria, and he's just going to spam models a little bit?
Not quite. Quite.
It's Durbirds. It is a long list for sure. It's Durbirds with 5 Moria Goblin Warriors with shield, 5 Goblin Warriors with spear, 1 with spear and shield, and then he has 1 Warp Marauder. 1 Prowler and 1 Bat Swarm. Then he has the Captain with no gear. 5 Warriors with Shield, 5 Warriors with Spear, 1 Warg Marauder and 1 Prowler. Very well-rounded list.
Yep. So the things of note here are 2 Marauders and the Bat Swarm. So those are combined 105 points. Sorry, 95 points. That's a lot of goblins that you could take with 95 points. But you see in this list it doesn't have the warband space for it, right? So it's kind of just to bump up the actual amount of hitting power you have without having to buy a 3rd hero. I love it. We were waiting to see Moria, because like you have a few classic armies that do well at low points or can get a lot of models for very little points. Moria is one of them. Yeah. We hadn't seen it yet, so it's great that Moria is here now. Personally, I think I would try to take Groblock over the Captain and just drop one of the Marauders.
I also think I was a bit surprised by the Captain. I don't really... Yeah, he has March, but do you need March at this point level? It's already a weird point level. I don't think you need March. March is overrated anyway, so...
Especially if you have a Bat Swarm and a Marauder. Like, you have decent mobility to grab things if you really need speed. Yeah, because Groblock has the thing where he can buff things with +1 fight on a 4-up. He's got an extra point of might, and he has strike. So it gives you just a few more options in the list. That's the only thing, but other than that, it's Moria. It's a lot of goblins, it's a little bit of shooting, it's some prowlers, it's some shenanigans, it's a Bat Swarm. It'll do well really against a lot of things.
The Marauders. Marauders are amazing. They put a lot of pressure on your enemy. They hit very hard. They bring 2 bows, right? Because it only says it has 2 bows, but it actually has 4 bows. Right? I think the Marauders have 1 goblin on front and 2 archers.
Yes, but they count as 2 models equipped with bows in terms of bow limit. So effectively, it does have 4 bows. Yeah, correct.
Hey, and just a personal thing, Kevin. I think someone feels insulted that you're always comparing things to the Spider Queen.
Yeah, I just replied. We're just scared. the Spider Queen is just scary, man.
But yeah, Ronnie is a great player. Ronnie is currently leading our Dutch league. I think he's on the 1st place. He always does well.
Yes.
So we can expect some good games from him. I have one thing with this list, and I think it's hella boring to play.
Goblins. Just straight goblins.
I don't know.
If you want fun in the Moria list, you can always bring a cave troll.
Yeah, true. So Ronnie next time bring a cave troll. But no, I think it will perform well. It's Ronnie. He will always perform well. Yeah. And he has like the good answers with the Bat Swarm to stop bigger heroes.
Exactly.
Terror might be a problem, but yeah, it's Ronnie. It'll be fine. We're going on to I think maybe the first mighty hero, not mighty hero, but it's Helm.
No, we saw Aragorn.
That's true, yeah, but he's not coming, so
that's
doesn't count. Rosalie is going to play Helm's Guard. He's continuing her quest for playing only cavalry armies with Helm Hammerhand on horse in this. Is it a legendary legion or is it just like an appendix thing? I don't.
It's a legendary legion, but it's not in the right spot in the book. I don't know. Games Workshop did Games Workshop things. It's definitely a legendary legion. It gives Helm Hammerhand a +1 fight aura of 6 inches and mighty hero.
Yeah. The +1 fight is actually from himself, not from the legion. But I think in the legion they can use throwing spears as normal spears. But
yes,
it's just Helm with 7 royal guard. One of them has a banner, and they all have throwing spears.
Yeah.
This list hits really hard, really fast.
Yeah. So Helm can call a free hero combat every turn, and he has a 3 point of might every turn. So technically, he has 2 3 points of might every turn. It's crazy. He is only fight 5, so if you're up against a fight 6 hero, you do have to watch out a little bit, but you know, he can call a strike for free every turn, so you don't really care.
Yeah.
It's interesting, right? Because this list is normally played as like a foot legion with a few cavalry mixed in, because of the throwing spear bonus that it can be used as a normal spear. But on this points level, I actually can see it work as an all-cav list, because you can actually fit all of these royal guards within 6 inches of Helm. Because normally, if you would, at higher points level, you would play this all cav, then part of your army would now be out of range of Helm, or not be able to charge, and then it's not going to work. But yeah, it's 8 models. It could be challenging against a heavy shooting army if you lose a few of your horses going in.
Yeah, and there's one thing that I think she's very scared of, and that's difficult terrain. Like, especially against shooting army, if they just place their models within the forest, this list is useless.
Yes.
Does nothing.
Like pyjama elves in the forest. Yeah, good luck.
Yeah. But Rosalie is a good cavalry player. She's played a lot of cavalry lately.
Yes, and also at the top of the league, right? So don't underestimate this.
I think so, yeah. If Helm gets going, there's not many lists that can stop Helm at the moment.
Yeah, no. This is definitely a scary army.
Yeah, indeed. So, yeah, really original. The only one as well. So
yep.
Looking forward to it. Let's go to Ritzer. There is one small error or fixing this list. Both Wildbarks should be with the Tainted. That's the only problem. But furthermore, it's an Angmar list with the Tainted on a Felbeast, bringing 2 Wildbarks. And then he has a Barrow White with an Angmar, 5 Angmar Orc Warriors with Shield, 4 Warriors with Spear, 2 Spectres. And that's it. 15 models, really low model count, Angmar. I think that the Tainted is going to have to do a lot of heavy lifting.
Yeah. I don't know, it's definitely an original take on Angmar, right? Because normally you just see the Witch King. So this is refreshing. So the Tainted is the one where people have to spend double resources if they want to do heroics, right?
Yeah, and on base contact on a 6, he does a wound to both mounts and the hero model, the model itself, not especially heroes.
Interesting.
So he can sometimes screw himself up. If you want to call heroic combat, he might actually kill the guy before the combat goes. Which is really fun.
I think this might be a list that has a lot of will available to it.
Wink, wink. Yeah. It has a 16, no, even more, 19 will. 19. Because the Tainted has 14 and Barrow White has 5. I think the Tainted is like a mid-range caster. He's not great, he's not terrible.
Well, it's pretty close then, though, because the Spider Queen and the Witch King list that we saw earlier also had a lot of will available. I think that had 18 will.
Oh, I hope you're right, otherwise I made a mistake and I'm going to make someone happy with nothing. But yeah. we have a chat who is very involved, so they can find it out for me. This list, I don't know. I like this list because it's original. Felbeasts are always scary. I hate flying Felbeasts against me. They're always scary. But only having 2 might is not much. To be fair though, Barrow White and Tainted combination, there are some opponents. For example, Helm Hammerhand might just lie on the ground for the entire game.
Yeah. Oh, I just made a mistake. The Tainted, thanks for the correction, Akeem, has the ability to make people not be able to call with me's. So for the heroic moves and stuff.
Oh, yeah, that's true.
I think. So that's yeah, very interesting. I don't know though, because I think he doesn't have strike. So there's no strike in this list again. So
no, he doesn't. Yeah.
It's one of those things where, and I really like that about 320 points. You have to choose. So there's no list that we've seen so far that doesn't really have any weaknesses.
I do like his warriors. I think the specters are really important on this list. He needs some ability to snipe some heroes. But yeah, like Akeem says, there's no synergy. Yeah. I think the Tainted is a very specific rule which works with some Akeem lists. They're just Akeem lists that they work with. And this is not one of them.
Yeah.
I do like the fact that Rutger is always someone who tries new things. I've known him to play Camul when he's playing Easterlings a lot, so he has some experience playing Felbeasts.
How's that new? I was doing that before the Emperor was released.
I know. I just give him some credit to Rutger, man.
Fair enough.
Yeah. He did, however, submit a very beautiful army list, although it was wrong, but it was beautiful with some artwork of the Witch King, so props for that.
Now you'll have to share that at some point. I know you don't have it ready now, but now I'm curious.
I might be able to put it at the end of this PowerPoint. But yeah, I don't know about this list. It might work, it might not work. If it works, I think your opponent will be very salty because he doesn't get to play his big hero.
Well, I think for comparison, maybe we should just move to the next list because that's also an Angmar list.
Oh, that's very sharp of you. Yeah, indeed. Sam is also playing
So if we compare this to the previous one, so this one does have the Witch King, not on a fell beast, but with a horse and plenty of resources in the Crown of Morgul.
Six more models. Yeah.
6 more models. It has a captain on a warg with a shield, so able to do some maneuverability there. No barrel wide for paralyzes, but then the Witch King should be enough magic for most situations.
Yeah, and the Witch King is on horse instead of a fell beast.
So you're giving up the fell beast, but with the Crown of Morgul, you really don't necessarily need the fell beast in order to kill things. And
I think this list is very well rounded. He doesn't have a lot of will though. He's only has given him 1 will.
Yeah, but he starts with 10, so that's 11 will in total. If you're not planning on fighting for many rounds and only throwing like 2 or 3 spells around, then it could be enough, but you definitely have to be a little bit conservative. But the Crown of Morgul does give you rerolls on your cast, so you can just do 1 dice compels and 1 dice transfixes a lot, and they'll go off most of the time anyways.
Yeah, I think this is a very solid list. Wild Warg especially, to give you some maneuverability. Only 1 Spectre, but the Spectres are quite expensive, so I get that you only take 1. Yeah, no offense, this list is just better. Like, in a straight up match, this list will just win, because Witch King's just way better. You have 3 more might.
Yeah, I agree.
And this is just, all in all, very solid list. I think this will be a good competitor. I think Sam is a pretty good player as well. So he should be able to play this, at least half decent. It doesn't have any bows. But that's Angmar, of course, but there's a lot of shooting so far.
Angmar is not going to shoot. I mean, that's true. Angmar doesn't like shooting. So they might have a rough time, depending on the matchup.
But yeah, I know when it's the Witch King of Angmar. It's the best hero in the game, probably. After, say something fun.
After the Emperor? I don't know. The Emperor got nerfed. It's no longer good. So do we actually have 2 Sams at this tournament, or is that an error? Because the next one is also a Sam.
Oh, that's probably an error. Maybe. I don't know. Let me check that.
Okay. Well, in the meantime, I'll go over the list. So the second Sam, or maybe not Sam, is bringing Lurtz scouts with 21 models, with Lurtz as the leader and Malhur as the second scout. Of course, for the Marauders upgrades again. We've seen this list before in more or less the same composition. It's a bunch of scouts. It's 7 bows in total, 1 of which is on Lurtz. Yeah, it moves at move 8. It has lots of shooting. It's Isengard again. It's Lurtz again. We've seen this before, and I think our comments from a previous list all apply to this one as well.
Oh, you've seen nothing. It's Sandy's list. It's not Sam. Yeah, that was my mistake.
Ah, Sandy. Okay.
Yeah, thank you. Also, I think a first-time player. New name, I haven't seen name yet. And indeed, playing a very similar list to the other one. Is there any difference? It's also 7 bows. Is it just the same list?
It could be. You missed an opportunity to make another double slide.
Yeah, but this one's too big, so it didn't fit.
Ah, fair enough. So yeah, see our previous comments and apply it to this one, and it's the same.
Yeah, indeed.
No, this list is strictly better. Like, I like this list a lot, but no, I'm kidding.
No, still a very, very solid list.
Yeah, no, it'll do well. Yeah, and I actually spoke to the person that made this list a few times on Discord, and you know, it was a discussion about bringing a banner, not bringing a drum, etc. It's just model count. They just want the models in order to do the things, and yeah, taking a banner because it costs too much.
21 models is a very good amount. You don't want to go too much lower with these. They're pretty squishy with defense 5 and defense 4. So.
Exactly, and you have the movement to just throw everyone in there if you want to. So then you want the extra models to make use of that mobility and wrap around your opponent if you can.
Yeah, I agree. Yeah, we've already discussed this list, so I'm sorry, Sandy, but
I'm really excited for the next one, though. This is my favorite list of the entire tournament.
Yeah. Oh yes, I expected so much more Wolves of Isengard. When I told people about this point level, they were all like, "Oh, Wolves of Isengard! I'm gonna take Wolves of Isengard," and just one.
I was one of those people, but then I realized just how much I would have to assemble and paint, because I have all of the models for this. I have a lot of old metal wargs. I have Sharku. I have it all. I just was like, well, but then I need to actually do it, and I'm like,
I don't think they're fun to paint. I painted some Orc Warriors or Orc Riders. I hated it. No. Orc Riders.
No, but let's talk about the list. For those of you that don't know, Wolves of Isengard is actually a legendary legion that exists. It's all mounted Isengard. It has some really interesting rules where you're allowed to forward deploy some of your like a d6 number of Warg Riders and then move them even before the first turn happens and even make shooting attacks with them. It's really, really insane. But you never see it played because it's kind of mid in everything else. Sharko gets 3 heroic combats, but he's a fight 4 hero, so with only 2 attacks, I think. So it's not like that's game breaking or anything. So
and they can actually choose to lose Maelstrom. They get a choice if they want to win or lose. That's a good thing, and they can charge on the first turn as well.
Yeah,
that's a cool thing. So they can lose on purpose and then charge.
So people always say like Wolves of Isengard could work on a really low points level, and now we see someone take it on a really low points level. So I'm really hoping it does really well because I love this Legion. It's just not good enough at anything at 500 or above. It just loses to too many things. But low points,
especially Shark with fight 4 is a big problem usually, but there's a lot of fight 4 right now, even some fight 3, so he might be able to get some heroic combats off.
Yeah.
And it's of course it says only 17 models, but you have a lot of wargs which might stay if you kill the rider.
It's surprisingly durable.
Yeah.
It depending on how well you roll the courage test, of course. Like if you fill all your courage, then it doesn't matter. But yeah, don't underestimate this list. It could do really well.
He brought some bows, 4 bows. I get it. I just get it. You can use special rules with the bows, and you can just shoot something if the opponent, like against Angmar, you can take some shots. But I always think throwing spears are better.
Yeah. Well.
But it might also just be like a model thing, because he might, like, if you buy the pack, you get some models with bows, so he might just have painted all of them.
That's true, because the plastic ones you actually they're pretty good because you have multiple components that you can swap around. But the metal ones you don't have a choice, and the metal ones I think was definitely 1 spear, 1 bow. I'm not sure if there was a third one that had a different pose. So if you have some metal wargs, you're always going to end up with some of them having bows.
Yeah, true. Yeah, but I really like this list. I expected way more of those, but there's just 1. So Sjoerd, thank you for bringing it at least.
Yeah.
Hope he does well. I don't know Sjoerd myself. Might have seen him. Do you know Sjoerd?
I think so. But it's getting to the point where our community is so large that I'm struggling just keeping track of who's who, aside from the group of people that I regularly play. So I do apologize if I've played or talked to you and I don't remember.
Please say hi when you join us, Sjoerd.
Yeah, yes.
I'm
also terrible with names and faces. This is known, so like...
Oh, nice. We only have 3 more lists to go, Kevin. We're almost there, at the 2-hour mark almost. And it's more Isengard.
More Isengard, yeah. I mean, we've seen...
I'll take this one.
Yeah, we've seen this list before, or mostly this list.
Yeah, it's Lurtz, it's Vrasku, it's 4 warriors with shield, 2 with crossbow, 6 orc warriors with spear, 2 Uruk-hai warriors with shield, 1 with crossbow, 2 orc warriors with spear, and 2 warg riders with shield and no throwing spears. That's always surprising to me.
Yeah, maybe they ran out of points.
I agree. It's a lot less bows. We've seen this list before with Vrasku. That guy had, I think, 7 or 8 crossbows. This one has only 5. It's a lot less. I do think that might be better.
Yeah, so this one's got 3 crossbows and Vrasku and Lurtz, and the other one had like 5 or 6 crossbows and Vrasku and Lurtz. We see a few more orc warriors with spear here. I think generally a little bit more models and some mobility in the form of warg riders. I like this one better. It's more well-rounded. It's less all in on the crossbows doing the work.
Yeah, I agree. And also 21 models. I've seen that number a lot of times now, 21.
I feel like between 18 and 22 is where a lot of lists kind of end up for this point level.
You have a couple of 38 models.
Yeah.
Yeah, I know, guys. It's Isengard. Lurtz is good. He has a shield, which is cool. And a bow. Don't forget his bow, please.
So much Isengard.
Yeah.
Okay.
We're going to Tim, who is bringing a very small Mordor list.
Yes. This is Tim Este, a good friend of mine. He's been working on his Morgul Knights list for a while now. Already played it in the doubles for a little bit, and now fielding it here. So Witch King of Angmar on a Fell Beast with a crown, with Morgul Blade, with 2 Fate, 3 Might, and 2 extra Will, and 7 Morgul Knights coming in at 316 points.
Yeah, I think it's amazing.
It's cool.
It's one of the. We actually have a multiple amount of full cav armies.
Yeah,
and I think this might be the strongest.
No.
Which one of Felbeast is terrifying to me. Yeah.
No, Helm. Yeah. Helm is stronger.
I don't know, man. I love Morgul Knight.
That's true. Morgul Knights, they look fantastic. They are pretty good. They're really expensive. But yeah, the only
really
thing
awesome.
I don't like here is I think I would just get rid of the Morgul Blade just for an extra will on the Witch King. Because he needs to fight basically every turn, and with only 12 will and spellcasting, that's kind of eh. And do you really need a
you're
Morgul
right.
Blade if you're on a Fell Beast?
Yeah, I agree.
But other than that,
Tim,
this is an
hey,
amazing
he's your buddy.
list.
Go talk with Tim. Why did you take it?
Why did you take
Morgul
more?
Blade?
Why the Morgul Blade? Come on.
Because it's 10 points, right, on the Witch King.
Isn't it just 5?
No, I think it's 5 on like the Castellans. I think it's 10 points on the Witch King.
I'm going to
but
look it up while we go over the rest of the lists.
But yeah, I know. It's a really cool list. I think it's very cool aesthetic to have all Morgul Knights. And the Terror, like I already said, there's not many bodyguards, so I think the Terror might be really good.
Yeah.
Just playing free might though, but yeah, it's just the theme list. Witch King's always good.
It definitely relies on the Terra though, because if it gets countercharged by a lot of things, you're in trouble.
Yeah, because you don't have a lot of might, so calling the moves also. I hope Tim plays well enough with this. I don't think he should commit all of the Morgul Knights. I think he should keep like maybe 3 of them back for a second charge.
Mm-hmm.
I think that would be better. But yeah, I like the list. I think it's going to be strong, low model count.
Yeah.
But
No,
at least he's going to have fast games.
you are right. It is 10 points, and only the Witch King can take it.
Oh, yeah.
So it would have actually been 2 extra will for the Morgul Blade. And I'm even more sure that I would take the will over the Morgul Blade.
I am curious, who was he scared of to take the Morgul Blades? But you usually take it for like monsters and low fate.
Yeah, because
heroes.
it's an insta-kill, but only if it's not fated, right?
Yeah, true.
Yeah, so even against things like Treebeard, maybe the Ent.
Yeah,
The Ent.
that's true.
You can kill an Ent.
Nice. Okay, Tim, good luck. You're going to kill an ant. Yeah, I think that's pretty much it. Yeah, and of course, the Spider Queen. But yeah, Van already knows that, so.
Yeah. Oh yeah, no, obligatory. This is how you can kill the Spider Queen comment. Every other list, right, Van?
Nice. I call it at the start. The last list will be Yorick. I actually have one more list after this, but that will be my own list, just as a backup list. And it's Goblin Town with 33 models, Goblin King with 15, Goblin Captain with 15, and Golem. Very solid. I was, however, surprised by not seeing Krishnash is his name, I think. Who is it? The Goblin hero with 3 might and the...
Oh no, Grina. Krishnak is the
Grina.
guy that tries to eat Merry and Pippin.
They're both trash. Now, that was the only thing that surprised me here, because I don't think he's very expensive and he brings 3 points of might. So 2.
Yeah, so you would take him instead of the captain.
Yeah.
Yeah, I agree.
I don't think you need March on that.
Yeah. So this completes like the standard set of low point horde armies, right? So we have Ruffians, we have Shire, we had Moria, and now we have Goblin Town. So it's complete. This is really strong because the king does a lot of work. Gollum has the ring, so together with Gollum, the king can be almost unstoppable. Fun fact: there is an Isildur on this tournament, so if they have to play against each other, I think Isildur gets precedence over
Ring.
Gollum on the ring chart, so Gollum will just be ringless. So, for what it's worth. The Goblin King will be really hard to kill. There's very few models in this tournament that have Elven Maid. So with that,
He's one of the only fight 6 heroes as well.
yeah. So this is the one list that can really throw a spanner in the works for a lot of other armies that we've seen. I think this will do really well.
Very strong.
Obviously, it doesn't have any shooting, but it doesn't need it. It just has 33 models. It goes and fights you, and everything has spear supports, and it has a giant monster that can kill pretty much anything. So, yeah.
Yeah, I agree.
I've played against Goblin Town a few times.
Yeah, same.
A few more times than I would like. It's just really strong. Yeah.
I was actually like halfway through writing a very upset email to Yorick, like why didn't you take the ring? But then I only noticed that Gollum has a ring from default. It's not an item he takes. He doesn't even have the ring. It's just a special rule that gives him the ring.
Yep.
So, yeah. That was my mistake. Cool.
So also a good comment from Dirk Jan, like why not bring the Goblin Scribe, because he doesn't cost that much and he can bring in a lot more. I agree.
Yeah, I don't know. A lot of people that play Goblet Town seem to dislike him on lower points.
Nah, he's really strong. But you do get to the point where your base model count starts to become pretty low because they're really fragile after all, and you will still break normally. So that'll lower your break point even more. You'll break more quickly, and in scenarios where you have to deploy forward because you're running to the enemy and there's objectives in the middle or whatever, those extra goblins from the scribe, they won't come into effect until way later because they have to like move up to the board 4 inches at a time. 5 inches? 5 inches at a time. So that's probably why you need an upfront fighting power instead of the delayed power of the scribe.
Indeed. Well, those were 31 lists. We're missing one list. I'm not sure from who, but we'll see because we're at slide 32 at the moment.
Mm-hmm.
But as a final saying goodbye list, and also as like an almost ending screen, my own list as a TO, just decided to bring a fun list in case I have to play if you have an uneven model, uneven amount of players. I'm not entirely sure yet if I'm going to play because they're only 90 minutes round, so I don't think a buy is that devastating for a player. But just in case, I wrote a list, and it's going to be my Torrens Company, which I absolutely love, on Pony. 4 models. Not going to discuss it too much. I think that Balin is MVP rerolling priority is so important on this list. And then just Thorin and Dwalin. And Dori as the final one. There's a free attacks. It's having nice.
Yeah. So remind me, because the ponies in this list, they give the dwarves 8-inch movement, I think.
Yeah.
And
you need to make courage tests when you want to charge.
But you can use the rider's courage, right?
Yeah, and if you fill your courage test, you can still move, but you cannot charge.
Okay. And do they get knockdown from the charge?
No.
Okay. So it's literally just for extra movement.
Yeah, and it really helps me out. I played the last tournament. I actually won the last tournament. You were there, so you knew.
Yep.
With this list, it was also a very themey tournament. So it wasn't just on game performance, but having the ponies really helped. And the nice thing is, if I bring this list myself, I can play very fast games because they're just 4 models, and it won't be too devastating for the opponent as a ringer list. So this will be my list.
Yep. No, I like it. It's. I think it's a perfect ringer list. It should be a fun game regardless. Nice and quick, so that you can go back to your tournament organizer duties if you do have to play, and not too strong or anything. Although it's also not a pushover at the same time. So if somebody wants to win, they still have to work for it.
Yeah, true. Okay, that's it. We actually made it to the end.
Yes.
So I asked you a question at the start, you all. Who do you think are the winners of the 3 prizes of having the most might, the most will, and the most fate? This is like the most boring sheet ever, but I just put it together right now. Of course, as we've already discussed, the prize of having the most might, and I think they will get a €10 store credit for this, for their list building. So please show up to the tournament, otherwise you won't get your prize. So extra encouragement to be there. Will be Pim, of course, with his Rangers with 13 might, and I don't think I made a mistake here. I think it was the only list with this amount of might, right?
Yes. I don't think
it's even a challenge.
No.
Then for the second one, I don't think he's here in the comments, so he won't be yelling and being happy. But the most will was actually the Angmar list from Ritzer with 19 will. Oh, and I fucked up there. The most fate also goes to Pim because he has 13 fate with his high amount of rangers. So Pim, I hope you're going to be there. Then you can already start buying some nice things in the store because you get 2 prizes and Rutger will get 1.
Yeah. So the will one was surprisingly close then, because that Angmar list, the Witch King Spider Queen list that we saw had 18 will in total. So that was really close.
I really didn't consider the Spider Queen for her high amount of will, but yes, he is.
Yeah, she's got 3 will for the Broodlings.
Yeah, true. If I made a mistake, guys, I'm sorry. It's also my vacation. I'm not on my best performance right now. So if I made a mistake, please correct me. But I think these are going to be the 3 winners. And with that, we came to the end, man.
Yeah.
We made it.
We made it. We're exactly 2 hours in. Thanks for everyone who stuck around with us until the end. We hope you enjoyed it. This was the first live stream for the channel, so if people do have questions, comments, suggestions for improvements, do let us know.
For sure.
yeah, I really enjoyed doing it, and
Same, man.
I'm really looking forward to the event. Just seeing the list makes me all excited to play. It's so different from what we're used to, so it should be a lot of fun.
Thanks. Yeah, I'm also really looking forward to it. A lot of players, a lot of nice guys, so it should be fun. It's a nice store as well, so. Yeah, how many Lurtzes were there? I think there were like 4 or 5 Lurtzes. May the best Lurtz prevail. Maybe we'll check that out. I think Kevin is scrolling right now and checking it.
Oh, honestly, I was just checking my chat because I didn't see that message yet, and I was like, is it broken? Let's just count. I see 2, 3.
Oh yeah, Larry, I think I will post a list on Discord. I'll do it tomorrow. I think I'll just put one big folder with all the... Or maybe just put this PowerPoint on online as well. That might just work.
Okay, so there's 5 Lurtzes.
5 Lurtzes.
I just counted. So maybe we should do like a tiny spot prize for like the best Lurtz.
Yeah, or the fastest dying Lurtz. Also nice.
Oh.
No, the Lurtz with the most bow kills, because I love the bow on Lurtz.
Okay.
That will be my prize.
Yeah, maybe I can print a nice 3D printed mini and give it as a prize to the Lurtz who gets the most bow kills.
Nice. That will be fun.
All right.
Well, we have the 4 days to arrange that, so we'll probably...
Yeah, I'll have a look through my files and see if I can find anything suitable.
Nice. Thank you all for joining, guys. It was a lot of fun. And maybe see you at a review of the tournament.
Yeah, maybe. We'll see.
Nice.
All right, thanks, guys. That's going to be all for now. Thanks for tuning in. And yeah, do let us know if you have any questions or comments. And see you next time.
Yes. Bye-bye.
Cheers.